Pub Sports Radio is very excited to announce the dates for Pubapalooza 4. The most exciting weekend of the gambling year. Round 1 of March Madness. It's all going down in San Antonio, Texas at the Southtown 101, Thursday the 20th till Sunday the 23rd. It's going down, baby.
Scheduled events every day that weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's all going down in Southtown 101. Come hang out with some of your favorite Pub Sports Radio personalities.
Oof, I can't wait. Meet us in Texas, baby. It's going down.
Introducing PubCoin. PubCoin is the rewards program for Pub Sports contributors. Regular chat contributors share their play of the day, POD, in the YouTube chat, including the phrase POD in their message. At the end of the week, the amount of units earned are converted into PubCoins. PubCoin can be used as reward points for prizes, shop discounts, and contests.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Mills here, Pub Sports Radio. Do you guys want to challenge the personalities here at Pub Sports Radio? Do you guys think you're better than them at entering in your MMA predictions and picks? Would you want to get paid for it? $100? Here's how you do it, man. You sign up right here at the link below. It's just this easy. PubSportsRadio.com. Enter your email. Pick your weekly picks. That's it. Oh, and you get bonus points if you can predict how they're going to win in what round. Every single week, a new winner's getting crowned. So every Saturday on Pub Sports Radio. So come on and check us out. You can win $100 just for signing up. Only thing you need to do is see if you can beat us here at Pub Sports Radio by entering your UFC predictions and picks weekly. Do it. I dare you. See you guys soon.
Upgrade your membership to Gold. You will be automatically entered in every horse race, every Wednesday and Friday. It is time to race horses. We are racing camels today.
Shout out to the Gold members. We're racing in San Antonio immediately here. And we're off. 2 minutes, 74 canals on this racetrack. It's wide. We're racing in San Antonio.
Pat Wally moving forwardly. Jeff Slaughter in the mix as well. And as is Randall Sheffield, who's put that beautiful nose out front.
But it's actually real grass here, Jimmy. Maybe Kentucky bluegrass. Oldie, no! There he goes. There he goes. Oldie in the lead now. K. Wolf falls back. The horses love it. Sometimes they stop and eat it on the way to the finish line. That's why your horses start so far in the back. Here. Oh, look at Nuss Flush Allen bursting out here. J-Dub in the mix. Rude Boy up here as well. Jimmy, take it away.
There's Oldie. Oldie is moving to the front. We are past the halfway mark in our 2 mile. And there's Ricky Levy.
Oh my goodness, he's in the mix here. Jimmy, take it home. This is our first dog race ever.
19 seconds left in the horse race here. It's Fernando Mendoza trying to find the wire. 14 seconds left. Can Fernando Mendoza take this home? Here comes Kenny Can. Kenny Can wants a piece of the pie. Put his schnoz up front. Ricky Bobby, 9 seconds left. Can Donut Silks make a run? Can Res Mall make a run to be $50?
You son of a bitch!
Here comes Tori Coker. Kenny Can, Smoke and Mirrors, Director 97 home. That is a way. Here comes Jason Meyer, the Eldorado Custodian, Billy Friedrich, Jones one, they're all coming down to the finish.
Coin! Nowhere!
Oh no! Fanatical Jim!
sports handicap a more dapper than a dom. For the young phenom known as Jimmy, who declared one day that the bag was here to stay. Information like a PSA, we all PSR, Pub Sports Radio Bizarre. Is a man named Slaughter and he flipped the script. No competition in this they quit the trip. But we say we be pubbing, better with the bag and you love it. You want a top 10, we above it. Let's check.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, December 19th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. We have a beauty Thursday card that we need to attack with great vengeance. NHL, we have Bobano for NHL, NFL, NCAA football, NCAA basketball, and then the triumphant return of it's Darryl in the house for this 13-game NBA slate. Derl joining us from Los Angeles, California, opening up his 2024-2025 account here on Pub Sports Radio. It's going to be great to have Derl back in business. Justin McKelvey in the house. Stacks play today, number 1. Belmont plus 2.5, and the Timberwolves under 214. Ron Crawford, NHL plays of the day. Nashville and NBA play today. The Timberwolves. And that Nashville look, very interesting, very appealing. I've only made 2 bets in NHL, and I find the Predators very appealing. We will talk it all out. Moneyball in the house. NJ Striker, Kongs, Clips, cashing with James Madison last night. Wine Time Sports, ready to get to work. Chip Plylar, Nordy, LJ from H-Town, Lightning on the puck line. Rockets first half minus 4.5, and Broncos Chargers under 41.5. I love the under. I bet it on Tuesday at 42. A couple of the totals I bet unders have gone against me. This one hasn't, and I'm thankful for that. The Nuke Worker in business. We got, speaking of business, serious business in the house. When you say his name, you lock in. Platinum Paul smoking that gas, getting ready to get paid in full. The Sweaty Butcher in the house. Nasty Nate, North Ender, rocking with us. Great to see you, North Ender. Dougie Wise, Slats, he says Avs 10-0 last 10 for Sharks, 5-0 last 5 in San Jose. He is on the Kraken's Devils money line parlay. I'm also on the Kraken on the -1 line. One of the 2 bets I've made. The Avs Sharks game is fascinating because 2 goalies who were just traded for each other will be starting against each other. Bankroll Spence ready to go. Dougie Wise, free bands play today. Chargers first quarter money line -135. I've not made the Chargers an official pick, but my dad has $300 on the Broncos +3, and I didn't send it in. So basically, I've bet them, but they're, no official pick though. But Troy made the Chargers an official pick. He also has a Ravens money line, Chargers +3.5 -118. Let's get free bands here under our NFL breakdowns here. Thank you for sharing that with us. Dougie Y. Sancho in the house. Morgan Spooner with his college basketball card. We have 10 games that we've chosen for college basketball that we will break down. Of course, both of the HBCU Classic games, the Chris Paul HBCU Classic games. So we'll be hammering both of those and 8 others. But we need to keep a brisk pace because we also have the Carriers New Orleans Bowl to ensure that we have everything capped. So we need to keep a brisk pace here. Oh, let me fix that here and get Morgan Spooner's NCAA action. We're talking about all of those games, I think, except for Southern Indiana. It's not one of the ones we picked. Kenny, Ken, Dabby, Cab, JT. What a great group. A lot of love here from the squad for our guys, Derl, who will be rocking with us. Great to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining us. Let's get right to work because we don't have a ton of time here. And we have our Star of Thursday action ready to rock with us. So we have the 9-game NHL card. We roll into Thursday Night Football, roll into the New Orleans Bowl, and then see if we can get through all 10 of these NCAA basketball games that we have chosen. And then Darryl joins us for this 13-game massive NBA card here. Dabby Cap says, big Saturday for All About the Hoops. Ski Prophet, Dutch Boy Fresh, LJ Wine Time, and Mr. Dabra Cadabra lined up for the starting 5 this week. And the Shark joining as the sixth man. I love that. Great new show here on the channel. But let's get right to work and bring on the star of Thursdays here on Pub Sports Radio. He's also the star of the Ice Guys, star of the Hitting the Books YouTube channel, and the NBA OG show. Please welcome from Canada's Black and Yellow, Steel Town, Hamilton, Ontario, our friend Bobano to the show. Bobano, how are you?
Yeah, this is our last Thursday before Christmas, so let's put some presents of winners and some stockings here. Let's go.
I like it. And we have our guy, the Skunt Blaster, plays of the day, Broncos money line, Sam Houston plus 3.5 at plus 105, and Utah Tech money line for the Skunt Blaster in the house. Thank you, Skunt, my friend. Thank you for rolling with us, and I've copied and pasted your action. We will discuss it throughout. Bobano, our records in NHL are a problem, but there's time, and we have years of proving our ability in the sport, but we must climb out of the holes that we are in. The transparency and honesty of our show is the most important thing. It's what sets us apart. Sometimes our records make us look very good, like your college basketball record, Bobano. On this show, you are 30-19, 61.2% plus 8.76 units ROI plus 17.88%. But there will also be spots where our NHL or where a record comes up that is hard to look at, and this is our NHL record. So let's get to work here and let's begin the fix here. We have 7 p.m. Eastern, the St. Louis Blues 15-15-3, 9-7-2 on the road. Tampa Bay Lightning 17-10-2, 9-4-1 at home at Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida. Nate Dogg 420 in the house. Andrew G ready to get to work. Moneyball, it's not for everyone, but it's sure. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for NHL betting. I wouldn't have the show. I wouldn't have any. It's all NHL is what brought me to the dance. And I love capping it. And there's only been 1 year. We're in year 9 now. Only 1 year where I haven't ended up in the black. I plan to get there. Oldie in the house. Christopher Carter top set, but it's not been easy sledding. And last night was very disappointing. Blues Lightning, Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida, with Jordan Binnington 8-12-3, 2.94 goals against average, 898 save percentage, 1 shutout. Andrei Vasilevsky 14-9-1, 2.44 goals against average, 910 save percentage, 2 shutouts. We have a Lightning spot that is backed here by our LJ from H-Town. He is on these Tampa Bay Lightning on the puck line. Let's review the situation. We'll start with the odds. The Lightning right now minus 211. They opened up at minus 210. There's been no movement. On the 2 spots that I bet yesterday, early afternoon, I thought I was going to smash the line movement. I've not smashed it. It's not gone against me, but I've not. Nothing was no need to move on it early, basically. The 6 is juiced to the under at minus 110. We've had a 1 cent move, to minus 111. There's been times where this has been juiced by 5 or 10 cents, but not right now, just 1 cent move. We have St. Louis 16.4% power play, 76.5% penalty killing. Tampa Bay power play dangerous, 28.7% power play, 79.5% penalty killing. Blues coming off their 3rd loss in 4 games, 4-1 at home to the Devils on Tuesday. Lightning coming off their 3rd straight win, 5-3 at home over the Jackets on Tuesday. They were up 4-0 going into the 3rd period before things got a little more dangerous for them. From an injury standpoint here, we have these St. Louis Blues with Nick Leddy out right now. Radek Faksa is a day-to-day, but Nick Leddy is out. And for Tampa, they are a healthy group here. Take it away for us, Bobano. Game 1 on the card, Blues Lightning.
Yeah, Blues have cooled off a little bit under Jim Montgomery. The great start, of course, after the coaching change. And now they're just, 2-4 in their last 6 games. They're coming off a 4-1 loss against New Jersey. Tampa Bay, it's been a nice run for them of late. They had a winning road trip out west in Canada, 3-1. Their only loss was 2-1 to the Oilers, and I don't think they played that bad in that game. And what I like about the Columbus performance was that that's historically a bad spot, at least a tricky spot coming home off a long road trip out west like that. And they pounced on the Jackets right away. They got the quick lead. They got the early lead. And then they didn't look back with the 5-3 victory in that game. Coming off the 1-goal performance for St. Louis against New Jersey and only generating and mustering 20 shots, a lot of talk was, we got to shoot the puck more. We got to generate more. We got to make it more difficult, in the offensive zone. Too easy, they're taking the puck away and the forecheck and the threat ends. So I think for St. Louis, there's an offensive emphasis for them going into this game tonight. Tampa Bay, of course, if you look at them at home lately, 5-3 against Columbus, 4-2 with 8-1 with San Jose, 5-3 loss to Toronto, 5-4 loss to Washington, 8-2 win against Colorado. Well, the point is lots of overs with Tampa Bay on home ice. I think that continues tonight. I like the fact that we've got St. Louis coming off that loss to New Jersey, focused and emphasis on offense, getting the offense going after only getting 20 shots and 1 goal in that game. So I see over 5.5 at -130 at PointsBet. It's a terrific number. I like this game over the total, and I'm going to surprise some people. I'm going to take a shot with St. Louis here. +188 is the best price out there with St. Louis right now as an underdog. We've now got them, and most of their wins under Jim Montgomery so far have been on the road and as an underdog for St. Louis. And they've done a decent job punching up in weight class. I think you're going to get a good effort. And here's Tampa just rolling. Everything's going good. You think, don't step in front of Tampa right now. But now you get them in an out-of-conference game. And guess what Tampa Bay's got on deck before the Christmas break in their next 2 games? Oh, yeah. Home and home with the Florida Panthers, the defending Stanley Cup champions. Dubious spot, in my opinion, for the Lightning. Give me the Blues.
It's interesting. It's a great breakdown. I how high I'm on the Lightning. I have them to win the division, to win the Eastern Conference. My only Eastern Conference futures until I moved on the Capitals under 105.5 points. And, they're 6 points behind the Leafs and Panthers right now. They have 4 games in the hand on the Panthers, 3 on the Leafs. So they're going to be right in this. But the Panthers bringing up that home and home, and God, did the Panthers look like bullies last night against Minnesota. They looked they were so in control of that game. I was
how impressive that was, because I thought that Edmonton game was going to take something out of them.
I was on Minnesota. It was my only bet last night, and I watched that entire game until there was about 5 minutes left, and I was like, I can't handle this anymore. I just can't fucking handle it. It was just, they dominated Minnesota. They dominated
their A game is still capable of beating anybody anywhere.
The team that they dominated is second in the Western Conference right now, and they dominated them like they were playing children. It was horrific. Yeah, I get why you're on the Blues. You cashed with the Sharks at +182 last Thursday. I'm not going to be able to move on the Lightning as much as I like them. I can completely understand where you're at. Blues
They've really been good on the road. They beat the Rangers, they beat the Devils, they beat the Jets, they beat the Flames, they beat the Canucks, they lost in overtime to the Stars, and they lost in Edmonton. Those are the 2 road losses under Jim Montgomery, and both of them they were right there in the game.
No, I'm right with you, but I'm not going to be able to move on them. I'm just a little too high on the Lightning, but I completely understand.
Yeah, not easy to fade Tampa. They're playing great. Absolutely.
We roll on 7 p.m. Eastern. The New Jersey Devils 21-10-3, 12-4-0 on the road. The Columbus Blue Jackets 12-15-5, 8-4-3 at home. We're at Nationwide Arena, Columbus, Ohio. Jacob Markstrom 16-6-2, 2.29 goals against average, .909 save percentage, 1 shot. I start rolling into this, and I remember there's so much work that has to go into prepare for these shows, but how much fun this is. This is so enjoyable. I'm kind of anxious for the NFL season to be over so I can get back to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I miss it very, very much. But back here, Elvis Merzlikins in the other crease, 9-9-2, 3.11 goals against average, 887 save percentage, 1 shutout. Let's get into the line history here for this one. On the total, we'll start there. This is a 6.5. It's -114 to the under. There's been 3 cents of movement to the under. There had been more. This was a -119 to the under at 8:15 this morning. So there's been a little bit of buyback. Still a slight move towards the under. On the money line here, we have New Jersey at -216. They opened up at -215. So here's another favorite with only 1 cent of movement towards them. I don't get too concerned when the market goes against me in the NHL, but it went heavily against me on my wild action last night, and the market knew the future. We have New Jersey's power play being spectacular, 30.1%, penalty killing 82.1%. Their special teams have been strong. They're a really good hockey team. Columbus power play 18.2%, penalty killing at 72.5%. The Devils coming off their third straight win, 4-1 at St. Louis on Tuesday. The last 3 victories have been clinical, easy, comfortable victories for them. Jackets coming off their 5th straight loss, 5-3 at the Lightning on Tuesday. There's a lot of negative things you can say about the Jackets, but they fight and they keep playing. And they were down 4-0 going to third period time, and then they made it a 4-3 game. The Tampa needed the extra net goal to cover that -1 line. They have Dante Fabro with the lower body injury. He's day-to-day. Same with Justin Danforth. Chinnikov is a nice piece who's been out for a while. He's not back till December 28th. I think they're better off without Branson on the ice. But, of course, Boone Jenner out till, if he comes back, March 1st is that hurts. For these New Jersey Devils, they are a very healthy squad right now. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Devils, Jackets at Nationwide.
They are healthy. They've won 3 in a row. They played quite well after that overtime, and they played quite well against the Leafs, too. They should have won that game. Anthony Stolarz robbed them of 2 points that night. Since then, they've won 3 in a row: Chicago, LA, St. Louis, and now they roll into Columbus, who are, back to the old Columbus. Can't keep the puck out of their net. You give up 4 or 5 goals every game like Columbus has lately, you're not going to win, or you're going to give yourself a very tough time, winning hockey games when you're doing that. And it's not going to be easy here with the way the Devils are going right now. They're starting to heat up. They're playing good hockey. And you look at series history, Devils have won 5 of the last 7. And in all but one of those wins for New Jersey, they've scored at least 4 goals against this Columbus team. 7, 8, 6, 4, 4. They have scored in 5 of their last 6 victories versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. So that's what I'm targeting here. I don't trust the Jackets right now to keep the puck out. I don't like what I'm seeing from that standpoint. I do like the Devils team total here, over 3.5 -125.
Devils team total over 3.5 at -125. Nothing for me to fire at here. Although it's just another year of the Devils delivering on the road. If we put a line through last year, if we go back 2 years, they were just
where you want to back them, believe it or not, on the road, not so much at home.
That's the truth here.
Yep.
But still, I just they've been dominating their opponents. They dominated at St. Louis. Were you close? I see that you're on the team total over 3.5, so you're in business, but is this a puck line spot? You see Kelly McInnes on the Devils -1.5. Do you find this more appealing than you must, because you're on the Blues? For a big favorite here, do you like the Devils on the puck line? Were you close at all to that?
Usually, I don't do puck lines very often. Just because I just prefer team totals, and sometimes the defense for a lot of these teams, quite honestly, worries me to be able to win by 2-3 goal margins. Maybe we shouldn't be worried with New Jersey right now because they are defending. So I don't mind that look. I don't mind it at all. Their last 3 wins have been by 2 goals or more. But the games against Columbus historically, they've been able to score, like I said, 7, 8, 6, 4, 4. One of those games was a 4-3 win. So just in case it's 4-3, New Jersey, a situation like that happens, I still prefer the team total.
Interestingly enough, the Jackets have only lost 4 games out of 4 games in regulation in 15 home starts
on home ice. Yeah, they've been competitive at home. So, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it go, but I can understand how it could be an appealing spot. Let's roll an Irish King liking them on the puck line. I get it, but let's move on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I seem to have this touch with the Flyers. The problem is when I don't bet them, they lose. I have to start fading them on the spots where I don't want to back them. So I'm not handling it perfectly at all. So the minus touch is not the best example because I'm not getting paid when I'm not betting them, but I'm keep getting paid when I back them. My whole plan was to back them here if they lost to the Wings. I certainly didn't like what I saw in that 6-4 loss last night. And I know that fading the Kings is a danger, especially them coming off a 3-2 loss in overtime at Pittsburgh on Tuesday. So I wanted to talk this one out with you guys. North Ender says Flyers cost me huge last night, only lost on the night, biggest play. That must have been rough to watch as they got back in that game when it looked.
By the way, I have the Kings 9-1 in their last 10 games off a loss. 9-1.
Wow. No, they've been playing very well, and look no further than Darcy Kemper. Yep. Shout out to my guy, Ricky Levine. We got a little bet here on Kemper's save percentage, and he is 915 save percentage. He's been playing very, very well. Andrew G says the big physical Kings. Byfield's season this year is perplexing. Like I don't get it. When I can see why he doesn't play a ton, because there's bad penalties. You can't trust him out there, but he's got so many physical attributes that you want in a hockey player. Kosalov on the other side, 3.05 goals against average, 889 save percentage. Last Thursday, we had him. I had the Flyers on the -1 line. Kolosov was brilliant. You had them on the team total over 3. I forget if it was 3 flat or 3.5, but it cashed because they won 4-1.
Yep.
So, and then Urson's not that good. It's just that he's been consistent and they've had no consistency.
He hasn't been the same since that injury. He was actually very good before the injury, or at least pretty solid, and he's taken a step back since this injury. Can he get it back? I hope so, because he was better before the injury than what we've seen since.
Kings 15.3% power play, 81.8% penalty killing. Philadelphia 16.5% power play, 79.8% penalty killing. So what do we do with the Kings team? This is game 5 of a 7-game trip. Yeah. So they still have back-to-back games coming up on Saturday, Sunday, which is a pretty tough schedule here before.
I do hope they beat Win tonight. I do hope they beat Nashville, and then we'll fade City them against Washington probably at the end of that trip before Christmas to get home.
Yeah, it's so keep an eye on this game 5 of a 7-game road trip, a long, tough road trip, and they have the back-to-back, as Bobano talking about. Kelly McKinnis on the Kings on the puck line. Slatzy says Flyers on back-to-back. Give me the Kings. One thing that the Flyers have been doing, and I know it's 1-1 because Detroit got a late one last night, is they've been winning these first periods over and over and over again. The bets when I lose, like when I lost the overtime, the shootout, Bruins beat the Flyers when I lost that one on the Flyers. They were up 2-0 after the first period. They just seem to come out firing, and I'm interested in them here. But again, the Kings are coming off of a loss, and we heard the interesting trend of them 9-1 off of a loss. So as much as I want to back the Flyers, have them over 81.5 points, have them to make the playoffs at plus 425, they're a big dog here, a very appealing giant dog. But why would they be such a big dog? There has just been a 6-cent move 5 minutes ago from plus 145 to plus 139, but this opened up at plus 132. So this line's moving towards the LA Kings. And then on the total here, we have a 5.5 minus 107 to the under. These Kings are getting old school totals for us. And on the injury front, Philadelphia is as healthy as they've been, all season long. The Kings are still close. They have Trevor Moore still with the upper body injury, who's, so important. Trevor Moore, and then Trevor Lewis, who's, another, 999 games here. Trevor Lewis, Trevor Moore, Arthur Kaliev, and of course, Drew Doughty continues to be out. So they're dealing with injuries. And that Trevor Lewis, Trevor Moore, that's your, accountability and defensive and toughness and stuff. I wonder if they're vulnerable here. Take it away, Bobano. Kings Flyers.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting because you're right. They do have those, those injuries to monitor. I mean, I can't get the Flyers are on a back-to-back. They're 1-4, by the way, 1-4 on a back-to-back this year. The Philadelphia Flyers and Kolosov. I don't fully trust him yet. That was definitely a step in the right direction against Detroit. It was one of his better outings of the season, but with his team on a back-to-back, and it was not pretty from the Flyers. Breakdowns left and right at times last night in that loss to the Detroit Red Wings. Don't like seeing that. They need to be playing airtight structurally as a defense to help out these goalies that are not the greatest. And if they're going to play like that, they're going to have a hard time. And in this spot, you got LA now 9-1 in their last 10 games off a loss. And of course, they're coming off the Pittsburgh loss 3-2 in overtime in their last game. I feel I'm probably going to end up passing this game. From an official bet, and I'm not going to make this one official, but I will note I did take a small Kings team total over 3, flat 3 at minus 125. Majority of their games off a loss, they've scored 3, especially of late. Some of them they've scored 4 or 5, and we know the Kings aren't a huge high-scoring team, but when you've gotten them off a setback, we have seen some offense from them. So not an official play, but I do have a small piece of the Kings team total over.
Yeah, I imagine I'm going to have so much action tonight, and we're going to be on the live stream, and I'm going to be in the throes of it, which something I love, but I don't know some of these spots here with all of this opportunity for action. Do I really need to reach? I kind of like Flyers first period. I kind of like, I don't like Torts at all, but I kind of like his ability here to have these guys ready to go after a real poor performance. You have to think they're going to be sharp here. Richie Rich on Columbus first period over 1.5 and team total over 2.5. The Columbus game first period. Columbus first period over a half for Columbus. So Columbus scored in the first period and team total over 2.5. System bet for him. Richie Rich, is great to see you, man. Love cabbing with you. So I have interest in the Flyers first period. I don't know if I get there. I'm just going to leave a question mark there. But this next game I'd like to get involved in. This next game, we move on, and we've heard from our guy, Ron Crawford. Ron Crawford, NHL play of the day is the Nashville Predators. Let's go, Ron. Let's rock! Ron Crawford! Penguins 14-14 and 5, 5-7 and 3 on the road. Nashville Predators 9-17 and 6, 6-7 and 2 at home. Bridgestone Arena, Nashville, Tennessee. It brings me great joy fading the Penguins over and over and over again. Tristan Jarry in net 6-4 and 2, 3.59 goals against average, 885 save percentage, no shutout. Shout out to Robert McCormick in the house. Great to see you. UC Saros in between the pipes. The last small goaltender in the NHL. I shouldn't say that because Devin Levi and there's a couple out there. It's like the quarterbacks trying to see over
getting outnumbered by the behemoths now. That's the point.
Certainly are. Razor Sharp picks in the house. Great to see you, Razor. Saros, though, having a pretty good season. He's the only person you can say that about with the Nashville Predators. Maybe Luke Evangelista, a Toronto boy here. Saros 7-14 and 5, 2.63 goals against average, 911 save percentage, 3 shutouts. Pittsburgh power play 22.3%, penalty killing 82.3%. Their special teams are really good. It's hard to be as bad as them with such strong special teams. Nashville power play 17.6%. They're penalty killing at 87.8%. It's very, very, very interesting. Yes, Nate Dogg, he will definitely get into the Hall of Fame Torts. The amount of wins he's had and the longevity of his career, unless he does something horrifying, which he probably won't. That would have to happen off ice. Penguins coming off their second loss in 3 games, 3-2 in overtime at home over the Kings on. Sorry, that was their second win in 3 games. Sorry, I wrote that in wrong. Second win in 3 games in overtime at home over the Kings on Tuesday. The Predators coming off their second win in 3 games, 2-0 at home over the Rangers on Tuesday. Let's pull up the line history here and set this one up for Bobano. Are we officially getting the Predators at a spot where there's value on them? I mean, it's a hard thing to say because they've been so bad this year. This total opened up plus 100 to the over. It's now minus 102 to the over. So it's been juiced to the under at 6. Has not changed. On the money line, the Predators right now are minus 154. They opened up at minus 150. This went heavily against them. At 3 this morning, this was a minus 133. It's come even at a little after midnight, it was minus 132. Then this climbed all the way up to minus 158 here with these Preds. A quick look at the injury report for both squads. Nashville still dealing with Roman Josi day to day. Just such an important piece of. I know he's having a rough year, minus 21, playing 25 minutes a game, but he was not in the lineup against the Rangers on Tuesday. Missed his 3rd straight game. He was in the game day skate on Tuesday. I feel like this move, this 20-cent move, maybe somebody knows that he will be in there. Important piece to this cap. So that's the Predators side of things. With the Pittsburgh Penguins, they're a very healthy squad. It's just Marcus Pettersson has been out for a little while. Take it away for us, Bobano. Penguins, Predators.
Yeah, I'm going to probably pass this game, but it is worth noting here with Nashville and because Pittsburgh, I've been anti-Pittsburgh all year. That being said, minus 160 against the to lay it with Nashville. I'm not so sure about that. I keep waiting, Jimmy, for Nashville to Nashville does have talent to go on a run, get some confidence, get on a win streak. But every time they get a win, they take the step back the next game and they don't follow it up. They are 0-6 in their last 6 games after a win. Nashville, 6 straight times after a win, they've lost the next game. They have shown zero ability to string wins together put wins together, put good performances together, and get on a run. And until I see it, I'm not laying this price with them. So we can move on. Pass for me.
If I hear that Yossi is back, I may have some interest in them. I may have interest in them. I don't know how appealing it is. I can understand why Ron Crawford's on them, and I thought after this breakdown I would want to be on them as well, but but the thing, Saros is
are
playing
0-3
well.
their last 3 after a win. So,
And that's an important
one, of
point.
course, in LA the other night. Yep.
Action Jackson says thoughts on the total. Slatsy telling us here that this has gone under now in 6 straight meetings. With the way Saros is playing, he's playing very well. I have interest in the under. Nashville's not scoring a lot of goals. I don't know if I get there, but let's talk about a game I have bet. Kraken -1, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Seattle Kraken 15-16-2, 7-8-0 on the road. At the Chicago Blackhawks 11-19-2, 6-8-0 at home. United Center, Chicago, Illinois. I'm a Joey Daccord supporter. I think that the Kraken, with him between the pipes, are a strong outfit. 915 save percentage. Peter Mrazek, 2.81 goals, 2.83 goals against average, 906 save percentage. I have no faith in him whatsoever. Seattle power play 18%, penalty killing 79.5%. Chicago power play 22.6%, which is something we expected, but their penalty killing has been very strong too at 85%. Let's get into the line history here. This line's gone against me. It hadn't. It looked like it was moving in the right direction. There had been no buyback. This had been a 7-cent move towards me, but there's just been an 8-cent move to the Blackhawks. They just went from plus 127 to plus 119. I shouldn't say 8 just, but 908. I hadn't looked at that. I hadn't seen it. So there's been a move back. From a total standpoint here, we have a 5.5 juice to the under. These 5.5s are back, and this was minus 117 to the under a little while ago. We have the Kraken coming off their second straight loss in 3rd and 4 games, 3-0 at home to the Senators on Tuesday. They've been outscored 8-1. 8-1 over their last 2 games. Shout out to Rodney Barton in the house. Great to see you, Rodney. They've been just destroyed. I'm not a Bills guy, but how do you not get these guys ready to go here? And that's what you want against the weaklings in the league. And I say it in every sport. You want that that need, that urgency against the bad hockey team. And the Blackhawks coming off their second straight win, 3-2 at home over the Capitals on Tuesday, feeling good about themselves. I'll copy and paste that here, Rodney, in a second. Robert McCormack is on the Chicago Blackhawks tonight. Let's just quickly touch on the latest injury report from both squads here and then hand it over to our guy Bobano. Seth Jones and Alec Martinez are still out. They're still on the IR. They could be back soon. Peter Mrazek is on the IR as well, but he's supposed to be back soon. That's why he was listed. He's being activated from injured reserve Thursday. So he missed 5 games. He'll be back in net. And the Alec Martinez is also could have been opened up here. No, he's still on IR, so he hasn't come back. And then Seth Jones. So Mrazek is being activated. Seth Jones he's being considered day-to-day. Okay, so Seth Jones has been upgraded to day-to-day. So he's very close to coming back here. And you know what we do when teams are missing their top 2 defensemen or 2 of their top 4 defensemen, we fade them. That hasn't been working very well if you've been doing that to the Blackhawks. They won the last 2 games. Yanni Gourde day-to-day with a lower body injury for Seattle, and of course Eberle out long-term. Take it away, Bobano. Blackhawks Kraken.
I'm with you actually on this one. Yeah, I like Seattle here in this spot. Just money line. Let's see what the best price is with the Kraken here. Looks like minus 130 at Betway. Best price currently available with the Kraken. And I was on Chicago the other night against Washington and the Islander game. Actually, both last 2 tries when they've been home dogs here at United Center, I took them. But I feel this is the right time to kind of go against them. That comeback win against Washington. Washington ran out of gas. If you watch that game 2 in the 3rd period, that looked like a tired Washington team back-to-back because they played against Dallas the night before. And Chicago kind of jumped on them in the 3rd period. Great win for Chicago, and there's no doubt we're seeing signs of improvement, signs of progression from them under Anders Sorensen. But I think there's a bit of a difficult spot, and who the hell knows how Peter Mrazek's going to play, because there's a chance he starts tonight. He's been activated from the injured list. He has not played in a while. Let's keep that in mind. And I'm always a little leery of these goalies in their return from injury, although it's not confirmed he's going to start, but he is available to start. There's no confirmation yet. It's just projections of Joey Decord for Seattle and Arvid Soderblom for Chicago. But why do I like Seattle here is because this feels like the last time they started their road trip, where they had the 2 losses to San Jose. It's like, what the hell's wrong with this hockey team? What's going on? And how can we trust them right now? But somehow they got away from 2 bad losses, including the one at home against San Jose, which was really bad. And then they started that road trip with back-to-back wins against a very good Carolina team and the New York Islanders. They lost a tough one to New Jersey, 3-2, but they were right in the game. And then they beat the Rangers 7-5. They went 3-1 on that road trip after a bit of a struggle at home. Deja vu. They lose to Florida at home. They have the one good home win against Boston, and then back-to-back home losses to Tampa and Ottawa, outscored 8-1 in those 2 games. And you think, how can we back Seattle? Well, get on the road, bond together. Right before Christmas, all the holiday distractions are back home. You don't have to worry about them. Focus on doing your job. Focus on business. Focus on getting the job done. And I think Kaapo Kakko's addition to this team via the trade with the New York Rangers, we'll have to see if he plays because it's only 24 hours later. But I think there's a good chance he can get to Chicago in time and be in the lineup tonight for the Kraken. I think it's just what the doctor ordered for a team that hasn't been getting consistent production. And I think he's going to get a top 6 opportunity for the Seattle Kraken, which he didn't always get with the New York Rangers. Now, he's got to deliver because, let's be honest, why is he getting traded from the Rangers? Because he didn't live up to the first-round billing, and he has been very inconsistent there with the New York Rangers. But sometimes for a very talented, very skilled, highly touted player, sometimes all you need is just a change of scenery, to get your game back on track. And we'll see if that can happen for Kaapo Kakko here in Seattle. Don't know if he'll be in the lineup tonight, but definitely something you want to monitor. Either way, I'm with you. Seattle minus 130. Good spot. They've been good on the road recently. And Chicago, thanks for the 2 wins, but I think they're walking into a team tonight on their home ice that's going to be coming out ready to go.
I'm on the minus, the -1 at plus 121. Bobano on the Kraken at minus 130. And Kakko, not just a first-round pick, but a second overall pick.
Yeah.
That's how you win Stanley Cups. That's the Blackhawks and the Penguins. That's also how.
And he's a prisoner of that draft pick because, has he been awful? No. But considering the where you were picked, 2nd-round pick, it looks like he's been awful based on expectations.
I deep dive on that 2019 draft after the trade. It's a weak draft. One thing, and we didn't get caught up in this because I went down the rabbit hole for too long. In the 5th round, only 1 or 2 players have played in the NHL. And I went over those 5th-round picks. I went through them, almost all of them. They've almost all retired now at 24 years old. That's what happens if you don't, and can you imagine being a 5th-round pick in the NHL with all this hope and all this, and then at 24, you're out, you're not playing hockey anymore. I mean, it's just wild, which is a different time to have that conversation. Let's roll on, though. Bobano and I both on the Kraken. 9 p.m. Eastern, Ottawa Senators 16-13-2, 6-7-1 on the road. The Calgary Flames 15-11-6, 11-4-2 home. Scotiabank Saddledome in Calgary, Alberta. I just look for opportunities to fade the Flames at all times, and maybe we've got one because Linus Ullmark right now is playing exactly like the goaltender that they gave the big contract to. He looks very, very good. Senators have won 4 straight games, come off a 3-0 win at the Kraken on Tuesday. Their power play is elite, 25.7%. Penalty killing is a problem at times, 77.3%, but it's not nearly as bad as the Flames penalty killing at 71.9%. Calgary's power play has been a little better than I expected at 20.9%. Dustin Wolf in between the pipes for the Flames. The Flames coming off their second loss, 3 games, 4-3 in overtime at home to the Bruins on Tuesday. I stopped fading the Flames at home after I got burnt a bunch of times early in the year. And now it looks like, they're regressing to the mean. Let's get into at home. We know they're just a clear fade on the road, but at home, let's get to the line history. This totals at 5.5, juice to the under. I mean, obviously it's because of the skill set of these 2 goaltenders, because you wouldn't think when these 2 teams would meet up that this would, be a low scoring game. There's been a 5-cent move to that under 5.5. Those 5.5s are just sweats, man. And we have Ottawa right now at minus 127. There's not been a move towards them. This opened up at minus 133, and it got up to minus 142 at 9 a.m. Got there a couple times. Now we're down to minus 127. A move back to the Flames. I mean, do we trust the Ottawa Senators or this type of team that you want to back as a favorite on the road? Maybe that's what they are now. They're 6-7-1 on the road against a team that's 11-4-2 at home. Perron out with the upper body injury and Artem Zub dealing with the foot injury. Both are out of the lineup for Ottawa. And for the Flames, Kuzmenko day-to-day. Mantha, of course, done for the year. Same with Kirkland. Let's just get this last idea on Kuzmenko, see if he might be back, because that would be a boost. He wasn't in the line, so he's missed 2 straight with lower body injury. I don't see why he would be in the lineup here, but it's possible. We just don't know. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Senators, Flames.
Yeah, I'm back on the Ottawa Senators here. I cashed a ticket with them against Seattle to start the road trip the other night. I thought, with this Ottawa team, I picked up on this because I bet them. Well, I saw them beat Anaheim 5-1. That didn't really do much for me, but I did think against Carolina they were live. I took a small shot with them against the Canes, and that's what opened my eyes to say, wow, this team's maybe starting to flip a switch and get it going. And they shut out Carolina 3-0 in Carolina. They come back home on a back-to-back tough spot, and they still find a way to get past Pittsburgh 3-2 in overtime with Forsberg in net that night. And then they go back to Allmark against Seattle, and they shut out the Kraken 3-0. How good is Allmark right now? How about 6 straight starts that he's won? How about 5 goals allowed in those 6 starts combined, including 2 shutouts? He is dialed right now, Linus Allmark. 100%. He is feeling it. This is the goalie they hoped they were getting from the Boston Bruins, and he is providing that. And their team defense and their structure, Jimmy, I don't think I've ever seen it better than what I have seen in the last few games. They are back-checking. The forwards are helping out the D. They're making life as easy as possible on Allmark. Allmark still has to make some difficult saves because you're going to give up a few dangerous chances, but Ottawa's not giving up the real grade A chances to the level they were earlier this season. And you got to give them credit. They are a team that is a one-way team for me right now. Bet on or pass. And you look at Calgary, yeah, the home record's been great, and I've been a little hesitant to fade them at home. But don't look now, Jimmy. All of a sudden, 3 of their last 4 home games they've lost. 4-3 to St. Louis, 8-3 to Tampa, 4-3 in overtime to Boston, where they blew a 3-1 lead. They did shut out Florida 3-0, but lost the other 3 games in their last 4 at home. So they're not playing nearly as well at home. Ottawa looks like a team that is hell-bent on making this road trip a road trip of success and a road trip that gets them back in the playoff race. Because Brady Tkachuk and everyone that's been interviewed going into this road trip says this is our season here, this road trip. This is going to make or break it. This is going to define our season. If we want to be a playoff team, we need to band together here on the road and get the job done. What a performance in their last 2 road games. The Carolina 3-0 win, the Seattle 3-0 win. Their actions are starting to speak louder than those words. I'm back on Ottawa right here tonight in this one. Ottawa money line minus 128.
Yeah, I'm interested in joining you. Very interested in joining you. We have 3 games left in NHL before we get into the Thursday night. I don't
like the fact that Allmark hasn't been confirmed yet. This does change for me a bit if it's Anton Forsberg, but I can't see it. I can't see it with it not being a back-to-back. And he's won 6 straight. Roll with him.
You have to put him in, but I wonder if that's the reason why there's been a 15-cent move. That's interesting you say that. I'm certain. This show is going to be a long one. Of course, we have the Cappers Contest show as well today. We have Derl joining us at 1 p.m. Eastern. So we have an hour, 13 minutes left of Bobano, but maybe I should wait and just have that confirmed here. And then our guy Jose backstage popping up this Pub Sports Radio PSR promos. Take a look at the books. If any of them work for you, please, use our link. It's a big help to our channel. And again, for transparency, we do not get a cent off of anybody's losses. There are some companies that make money off of losses. We don't. We want you to crush these books. There's just a bonus we get when people sign up. So it does help the channel very much if you're ever looking for a book and trying to want to help Pub. Let's move on to the aforementioned Boston Bruins. 9 p.m. Eastern. Bruins 17-13-3, 8-7-1 on the road. At the Edmonton Oilers 18-11-2, 9-7-1 at home. Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta. I mean, at this point, there's teams that can step up. Like I'm sure Vegas can step up and Dallas can step up. But there's only one team that I know of that can beat the Edmonton Oilers, and they just did. When the Oilers are playing, they've got goaltending issues and things like that, but the Oilers are a really tough hockey team. Had their 5-game winning streak stamped a 6-5 loss at home to the Panthers on Monday. This is game 3 of a 5-game homestand. We're not going to get many opportunities to bet the Oilers on the -1 line. You're going to have to take them on the puck line. This was a -1 line opportunity that I don't know how you pass up. Legitimately, for the rest of the season, how do you pass up the Oilers on the -1 line when it's not expensive? I don't know how you do. I certainly didn't. And I didn't beat the line. I got -1 at -114. Man, how do you not back that? Slatsy saying Bruins 4-0, last 4 in Edmonton. They're coming off that 4-3 overtime loss against Calgary. Right now, the Oilers are -175. I mean, the market is telling us that the Oilers are vulnerable here. This move from -175, it just moved in the Oilers' direction until -186, and then there was this buyback here. No, that doesn't make me feel very comfortable. But I just don't know how you don't back the Oilers off of a loss every game for the rest. I mean, they're just so good. There's been 6 cents of movement towards the over. It opened up -109 to the over. It's now -115 to the over. And when we take a look at the injury issues right now, there's nothing new for the Oilers. They still got, Kane and Arvidsson. Regula, a defenseman, is out with a knee injury, but nothing important, no real issues. And then for Boston here, they're a healthy group, but Lindholm is not in lineup and hasn't been in for a little while. Swayman has a 3.14 goals against average, 887 save percentage. Stuart Skinner has better numbers than Jeremy Swayman this year. Boston's power play is 12.9%. I don't know how they can be trusted at all. And then 77.5% penalty killing. Edmonton power play 22.8%, penalty killing at 73.3%. It is a problem. And shout out to the respect play of the day. Had his 4-game winning streak snapped, but ready to go. Action Jackson says Bruins own the Oilers. I mean, we're a far cry from that. What was it? 1990 Stanley Cup. I mean, I don't take it away, Bobano. Bruins Oilers.
I'm on a over by Fecta here. I think it's a lot like that 6-5. And I don't know if the one concern, I guess, is Edmonton's off that 6-5 loss. Maybe they want to tighten it up a little bit, but I find when they're off a loss, they want to score, and they're capable of it. Boston is allowing almost 3.5 goals per game on the road this year. That's not good. And here's Edmonton averaging over 4 goals per game at home this season. So I think Edmonton's getting to 4 probably in this game. But I think Boston chips in a little bit too. I mean, I got to admit, Boston here, all of a sudden, they have scored 4 goals or more in 4 of their last 6 games. They've scored 9 in the last 2 games on this road trip. So they're starting to get their offense going. Boston's 8-2 to the first period over in their last 10 games. And that's been something I've been riding as well pretty consistently of late. I think we get that kind of a game here. So let me see what the Edmonton team total is, because I think I'll probably go with that too. Plus 100 Edmonton team total over 3.5. I do like that. I'd rather have that than Edmonton to win. That first period over 1.5 -122, full game over 6 at -110. And I'm not done yet with this game. Both meetings last year between the Bruins and the Oilers went to overtime, went past regulation. Both of them, the game in Boston and the game in Edmonton. Would not shock me one bit to see maybe more of that here. We've seen Boston go to overtime in 3 of their last 7 games, and I think we got a chance for it tonight. I think there's a lot of parameters that check the boxes as far as a draw candidate. So plus 340, Boston, Edmonton draw as well.
You are in hammering this game. First period over 1.5 -122. Full game over 6 -110. Edmonton team total over 3.5 plus 100. Draw plus 340. And I'm on the Oilers -1 at -114.
Like the last 2 draws I've given out on this show, I don't think it was last week. It was 2 weeks ago. Like we got crushed in the final minute with a goal that broke a tie in the final minute. Both games. Unbelievable. Bad luck.
Yeah, the big score spots for you have not been coming through, and they've come so close. So that we're
close, man. We're close.
We'll come back to the mean. You got them in you. Let's roll on. 10 p.m. Eastern. Vancouver Canucks 16-9-5, 10-2-1 on the road. The Vegas Golden Knights 28-3, 11-3-0 at home. They may be 10-3-1 now. After that, I don't remember when I put in their road record. T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. Kevin Lankinen in tonight, 14-4-3, 2.52 goals against average, 912 save percentage, 3 shutouts. Aiden Hill, 13-5-2, 2.78 goals against average, 899 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Vancouver power play, 23.6%, penalty killing at 80%. Vegas power play, 27.6%, penalty killing at 79%. Canucks on the second half of back-to-back after falling 3-2 in overtime at Utah last night. Knights coming up their 5th win in 6 games, 3-2 at Minnesota on Sunday. So they've had a lot of time off. This is a huge rest advantage spot here. Let's get into the cash flow. This total 5.5, quite low. This under 5.5 opened up at plus 104. Now it's minus 102. There's been a move away, to the under. A lot of 5.5s going towards the under right now, which is very, very interesting. Then we have Vegas right now minus 171. They opened up at minus 158. They're right in line for a minus 1. I'm not entirely, I guess, because there's so many confusing things going on with Vancouver right now. And even people close to the team aren't entirely sure what the hell is going on inside the room. We don't know. JT Miller's absence was not drugs or alcohol related. This is an issue with Tocchet. And he's not the only one with the issue with Tocchet. So it's just, I don't know what to do with them right now. For Vegas, Ben Hutton is still on IR, and Barbashev day-to-day with upper body injury. Hronik for Vancouver out for a long time, and Forbort is sick right now. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Canucks, Knights.
It's probably going to be Kevin Lankinen in net for Vancouver tonight because he's battling the flu, but it looks like he's over that. And he's obviously with Demko starting the brutal loss last night for Vancouver, though, to let that one slip away. But they look like they hit a wall in the third period against Utah. But it looks like it'll be Lankinen. We know what he's been on the road as a goaltender this year for Vancouver. He's been amazing. And I think that's the one thing that's going to keep me off Vegas, because this feels like a Vegas spot. It does. When you talk about the rest advantage, their dominance at T-Mobile Arena, Vancouver looking a little bit like they hit the wall physically against Utah, and now you're coming off the thin air altitude and you're playing less than 24 hours later against Vegas. Tough spot for the Vancouver Canucks. But I also don't want to go against their road record. I know they finally lost one on the road, but still a team, even after the loss last night, they got the strong road record. But there's a lot of things that point to Vegas here. I just don't want to go against the Vancouver road record or Lankinen on the road, who's been pretty much lights out all year. But I've got my concerns about this spot for Vancouver, so I'm off the game. Pass.
I'm close to getting on the Knights -1.
Yeah.
I
Believe
think
me, that would be the way I'd play it.
I think I'd get there.
Yeah.
I think I get there when this show's over here. Let's move on to the final spot on the board. We have Mel joining us. Great capper that she is. Says it's revenge night versus Georgiev. 2 goaltenders going up against each other that were just traded for each other. Avalanche, Sharks. Avalanche 10-7-0 on the road. Sharks have not been bad at home. 6-8-1 at home at SAP Center in San Jose, California. Mackenzie Blackwood 2.91 goals against average, 913 save percentage. Georgiev, his numbers are horrifying. 3.40 goals against average, 873 save percentage. San Jose's power play has been nicer than we expected. 18.5% power play, still bottom third in the league, but better than we expected. 79.7% penalty killing. Colorado power play 23%. We've watched the Oilers power play go from 14% up to 23%. It's going to go up to 27%. You see their offense, offense rising with the improved power play. The same thing with the Avalanche. You're going to see this power play rise up. There's just so much talent. They got Nichushkin back. Let's get into the line history here. Avalanche are -247. They opened up at -254. It's actually now -250. There had been a move away from them. On the total here, we have a 6.5. It's juiced to the under at -112. Just a 2-cent move towards the under. And then on the injury side of things here for these squads, San Jose has been dealing with injuries. Klim Kostin is out with the upper body injury. Vitek Vanacek, of course, out. And then, Logan Couture and Mark-Edward Vlasic are not even really thought about with this hockey team anymore. And then for Colorado, Shillington is still out with the upper body injury, and Josh Manson is close to returning from the upper body injury. Druin and Miles Wood are going to be out probably till the early in the new year. My guy, Lil Domo in the house. What up, Lil Domo? Please give our love to your pops, Chill Will, as well. love capping with you guys. Mel on the under 6.5. Now, that's a very interesting way of looking at things. I was trying to figure out psychologically what is my expectation of these two goaltenders who were just traded for each other. That's a really interesting way of handling things. Take it away for us, Bobano. I'm all ears. Avalanche Sharks.
Yeah, Mel, I hate to say this. I'm against you with the total, and here's why. San Jose 5-0 to the over in their last 5 home games, 7-0-1 to the over in their last 8 home games. And I've watched a good amount of them because there's less games late at night. San Jose is trying to put on a show at home. You see it every single game. They're trying to score goals. They're cheating for offense. They are not playing hard defensively. They are not playing smart defensively on home ice right now, San Jose. And until that changes, they are going to have issues keeping the puck out of their own net, especially with this stiff in net, Georgiev, who, continues to struggle. And he can be motivated all he wants to beat his old team that just traded him. He's just not very good. And you have a Colorado team that's coming in here off a loss to Vancouver, 3-1. Now, I made sure I went back and looked at this because I know for a fact Colorado does not get held to 1 goal or less very often. Not very often do you see Colorado either shut out or only scoring 1 goal in a game. So I went back and looked this season, how have the Avalanche responded when they've either been shut out or they only scored 1 goal in their previous game? Well, we have 3 examples of it. They got shut out at Winnipeg November 7th. The next game, they played Carolina, pretty good team. They scored 6, and they beat the Hurricanes 6-4 after that 1-0 shutout loss. They lost 4-1 to Edmonton. Next game, bounced back. They scored 5 in a win against Buffalo. 4-1 loss to Utah just a week ago, where they only scored 1 goal. They bounced back. They beat Nashville 5-2. So in 3 games this year where they've scored 1 goal or less in their previous game, Colorado has scored 6, 5, and 5 goals the next game. So when they get shut down, don't expect it to happen, the very next game. So again, 1 goal or fewer 3 times for Colorado this season. And in the next game, they've scored 6, 5, and 5. Give me Colorado team total over. I like it to light up their old goaltender here, Georgiev. Over 3.5, minus 140 for Avs team total. And I will go on the full game over as well. 6.5, minus 102.
6.5 at minus 102. I think
I like the Avs team total more, though, I must admit.
No, I feel you.
I could see this being 4-1-5. I could see Blackwood putting up his end of the bargain in terms of these 2 goalies playing well. I just don't see it for the other guy.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think this is. I don't think the idea that Mel has here, which I kind of like. I don't think it's about Georgiev stepping up. It's about everybody around him trying harder. Because of being jettisoned and having being jettisoned by a team that had Stanley Cup aspirations. So I kind of like. I think I'm going to sit with both angles here because I can understand your angle, but I kind of like this expectation that both teams are going to try to, at least be accountable for their goaltenders against their past.
Colorado, by the way, has scored 4 more for the last 5 trips to San Jose as well. So
yeah,
I noticed.
Slatsy's saying they've actually scored at least 4 in 8 of their last 10 wins.
There you go.
Versus the Sharks. Slatsy joining Bobano on the Avs team total. So it looks like you'll have Slatsy backing you, and I think I'll be backing Mel. But I do want to sit with this a little longer here because I can understand both angles, Okay, Mel says this will be the most fascinating Avs-Sharks game in years. All right, that is our NHL breakdown for Thursday, December 19th. Bobano on the over 5.5 in Blues Lightning and the Blues plus 188. Bobano on the Devils team total over 3.5 minus 125. I have some interest in the Flyers first period. I don't know if I get there. I have some interest in the Predators -1. I'm interested in trying to get there. Bobano on the Kraken -130. I'm on the -1 at plus 121. Bobano on the Senators at -128. I'm very curious as to why on earth this has moved towards the Flames with the way the Senators are playing. I'm interested still in the Senators and joining Bobano on that one. I'm on the Oilers -1 at -114. What a beautiful price. Bobano on the first period over 1.5, full game over 6. Edmonton team total over 3.5 at even money in the draw plus 340. I think I will add the Knights -1 and the under 6.5. I feel like the card's coming together. I have at least those 2 additions Do I also move on the Flyers first period? I'm pretty close to wanting to. I just think this is a kind of a torch spot here. Not 60 minutes, but 20. So then we have Bobano on the Avs team total over 3.5 and the over 6.5 minus 102. North Ender has interest in Vegas, Edmonton, and Nashville now. Okay, that is the NHL breakdowns. Let's move right into NFL, and let's move quickly here because we got lots of work still to do, and we only have Bobano for another 57 minutes. We head to SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Broncos, Chargers. Troy gave us the Chargers minus 2.5, and the Ravens money line and Chargers plus 3.5 minus 118. Dougie Wise gave us the free bands play today on the Chargers first quarter money line. I'm on the under 42, and we heard from LJ on the under 41.5. And Mel's long shot play of the day is Draisaitl first goal score at 10-1. What a beast Draisaitl is! What an absolute monster he is. Gorky says Broncos roll, and he's not alone. I know Truth Teller believes that the Broncos roll. There's Truth Teller in the house. What up, Truth, my man? And Jermaine says Broncos 1-9 against spread last 10 years in week 16. I don't know how much I put into that though, Jermaine. Where I mean, clearly,
I definitely get those stats, but some of that's kind of random, and there's been different coaches, and you know what I mean, different players.
The culture has changed pretty drastically. Let's set this one up here. Let's get into the line history and the cash flow. My breakdown with Troy is on our channel right now. This on Thursdays, it's about hearing Bobano's breakdown. So I'm just going to set it up, maybe give a couple notes, and then we'll move forward here. We have the Chargers right now minus 2 at minus 110, which means that there's been a big move towards the Broncos at the 2.5 number. Because this last night, 9:47 p.m. was minus 119 on the 2.5. And I was like, oh, are we going to creep back to a 3? That is not the case. Skunt Blaster, we have his plays today, says, I can't stress this enough, Broncos. I can't stress this enough, Broncos. Sweaty Butcher, let's see what Sweaty has to say. He says, home favorites off a loss, 3-7 against spread last 10, 15-26 against the spread in the last 15-26 against spread this season. And look at that, BJ. On the Chargers money line. Wow. You know, that is, BJ does so much work, within the market. That's got to be an X's and O's.
Everyone's talking like the Chargers are all of a sudden a piece of garbage. I'm amazed by that. Quite honestly.
As you guys know, Pops has sent in a $300 bet on the Broncos plus 3, and I didn't send it in. He has also lost three straight $300 bets. But he was in Vegas last week, and he put 700 on the Buccaneers on the spread. And he's obviously feeling very good about that and going right back to the well. That was part of the reason why I didn't send it in. Brandon Cummings in the house says, hello, ladies and gents. Been a busy day in the ICU so far, so I can catch the show on my lunch break. Brandon, the work you do is so inspiring. And Brandon Cummings, one of the OGs of OGs. You always had our back since I first started back in 2017 down in Costa Rica. Shout out to our guy, Brandon Cummings. And speaking of the ICU, our friend T-Moss is watching the show from Duke University Hospital, where his parents are both in there right now. And shout out to you, T-Moss, leading your family through this. Which is so difficult. And just know that you're just not alone. We care about you, and we're inspired by you leading your family through this, as we're inspired by Brandon Cummings and the work that he does each and every day. I will not, Skunt Blaster, I will not send it in. I will not. So let's get into this here. We'll get into the line history. We've done the spread. So a clear move towards the Broncos. This opened up at 3. From a total scenario here, we have a 41.5 now juiced to the under. That's something that I really like to see, as 2 of my unders have gone badly against me, and I should have waited here, but I didn't here. Truth Teller says wrong team is favored in his opinion. Mel says this isn't a road game. It's a Broncos home game here. All legit. Chris Warren with props. Knicks over 20.5. Edwards anytime touchdown. Chargers money line and the under 42. I'm going to copy and paste all of this. And Jermaine on Chargers to win within 1-6. Vidal under 37.5 rushing receiving. Sutton anytime touchdown. Palmer over 28.5 receiving. Herbert under 32.5 completions. Anything you guys put in here during our show, I will discuss on our show tonight. that's how we'll start. We'll start with the action that was given out from the chat, embedding with the bag. So anything you put here, I will copy and paste. Let's take a look at the cash flow and see what's happened here. Still, Broncos are being backed. 69% of the tickets, 66% of the cash on the Broncos on the spread. On the money line, it's just 30% of the tickets and 30% of the cash, which is a little surprising. On the total, 86% of the tickets, 82% cash on the over, and it continues to drop. Sancho says Chargers win this game. Billy Friedrich, Broncos plus the points. I'm going to copy and paste all of this action here. Of course, Broncos coming in off that 31-13 victory at home over the Colts. That was just shenanigans. There was just no realistic way that should have. Broncos were outgained 310 to 193. Broncos put up 3.2 yards per play. Jonathan Taylor had the miscue at the goal line. That was extremely frustrating. And then they had that stupid trick play that Benito foiled and ran back for a pick six, and that was over. The Chargers coming off getting destroyed. This is the first time where this is the worst loss in Jim Harbaugh's first year as coach. They were outgained by 300. They were outscored 27-0 in the second half. And, you know, as much as I agreed with Truth Teller's action saying J.K. Dobbins out, Chargers won't be running. Yeah, he's been out now for a few weeks, and their running game is being foiled. As much as I feel this way, I'm just not in the business of selling the Chargers at their lowest point, and I'm not in the business of buying the Broncos at their highest point. I think that's what it just came down to for me. My X's and O's are along with Troy's on our YouTube page. Let's hear Bobano's. Take it away, Broncos Chargers.
I'm Mr. Charger tonight. I am. And look, this is someone that was on Tampa Bay with confidence last week against this Chargers team on the NFL Pub Hub show. I took Tampa last week. And I said, I don't like this spot at all for Tampa Bay or for the Chargers coming off the Kansas City game. I like the fact that I like the fact that Tampa Bay is playing for that division. And I thought the Chargers, it was just asking a lot. They had been on the road back-to-back weeks against Atlanta and Kansas City, and they came home and they were good in the first half and they moved the ball, but then it looked like Herbert kind of re-aggravated something with the ankle, and they had some turnovers in the second half. Now the defense playing as badly as they did in the second half did stun me, did surprise me, because that was pretty ugly in the second half. Tampa just went up and down the field against them. It turned into a blowout. But here's the thing that I can't get over. The Chargers, earlier this season in Denver, against this Broncos team, they were 3-point road favorites. They won that game, and they won that game convincingly. Like, it was all Chargers. You know, Denver kind of made it closer at the end, but it was really the Chargers in complete control from start to finish in Denver. They were 3 on the road as favorites in Denver. Now they're just 2.5 here at home in the rematch, although, great point in the chat, it's not really going to be a Chargers home game. It's going to be a lot of orange, a lot of Broncos fans. That's the way it obviously is going to be anytime the Chargers play. Can I ask you this, Bobano? Do
you think there will be less? Because this game was, what do they call it again? When they move it from Sunday to Thursday, what's wrong with me?
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden, the people that thought the game was good, the Bronco fans that are going to travel to LA thinking the game's Sunday, well, all of a sudden, wait a minute, we got work, we got
Flex.
kids that go to school.
Thank you, Jose. Flex. I had tickets.
Suddenly,
I was going to this football game.
Right.
I was going to this football game on Sunday. It was flexed. Yeah. Do you think that? Thank you, guys. Do you think that will take a little
mitigate
bit
the Denver Bronco population a little bit in this game? Maybe. I'm not saying for sure it will. But all these people that are Broncos fans flying in, they thought this game was going to be Sunday. And now, wait a minute. We got work. We got kids. We just can't, go now on Thursday just because they moved the game. So from that standpoint, there's definitely some truth to that. There's no question. I think it's a good spot here for the Chargers. It's a wake-up call. It's a punch in the face against Tampa on the Sunday. And Jim Harbaugh in his NFL coaching career, this is 49ers and Chargers combined, last 15 tries off a loss, 11-4 straight up, 11-4 against the spread. Pretty good. As far as a coach you want to trust off a loss. It is a rookie quarterback on the road. That's something that hasn't been a great bet in the long course of time, even though he's working with a veteran head coach, obviously, and Sean Payton. Denver's on a roll. There's no question. And I've been on Denver a lot in this recent time. But you look at that game against Indy last week. I thought the final score was misleading. 3 interceptions for Bo Nix. A lot of the Denver points came off mistakes and turnovers. That disastrous trick play where they throw it to Adonai Mitchell and he tries to throw it back to Anthony Richardson, and there's Bonetto there, the Denver defender, just undercutting it and taking it to the end zone. for the Broncos. So it was a lot of Colts mistakes. They were outgained 1.1 yards per play by the Colts last week. So it really was not a good game for Denver, even though they won. It really was a misleading final score. Yeah, the Chargers defense was horrible last week, but I have a hard time believing for a defense that's played pretty solid most of the year that's going to happen again. It looks like they're going to be healthier than we thought at receiver. Quentin Johnston's going to play. Obviously, Ladd McConkey's good to go again for a second straight week. Joshua Palmer's in. I know they have no Will Dissly, but other than the fumble last week, by Stone Smart, the backup tight end, he's played really well, actually, in a couple of games here for the Chargers at that spot in place of Will Dissly. Denver's victories during this win streak, and they're playing great, and I'm sure people are seeing that, and I applaud them for the win streak. They're playing well. But it was Atlanta, who stunk at the time when they played them, Las Vegas, who stinks, Cleveland, who stinks, and Indy, who made a shit ton of mistakes last week in that game. That was the wins for Denver. The losses on the season: Seattle, Pittsburgh, Chargers already once this year, Kansas City, and Baltimore. So there's a little track record here. We can beat the teams we should. We're losing to the teams that are a cut above us right now. So when I look at it, I know the ankle's still an issue for Herbert, and he kind of re-aggravated it and tweaked it last week. But look, the ankle was an issue for him in Denver when they played in the first meeting. He still had that ankle issue in that game, and he still played through it, and they beat the Denver team handily on the road earlier this year. And it's worth noting the Broncos this year, they've won every single game as a favorite. Every time they've been favored, they've won. But all 5 of their losses have been when they've been an underdog. All 5 Denver losses have been when they've been an underdog. So when it's not expected for them to maybe win that game, that's when they fall short. I like the price. I like the spot. Chargers money line for me, minus 135.
Chargers minus 135. I'm really excited about this live stream tonight. It's going to be a lot on the line. And
what's your approach? You're looking for live Broncos, live Chargers, live over, live under?
Well, I'm on the under 42.
You're already on the under. Okay.
These are the best 2 red zone defenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I expect this to be a very, very intense grudge match football game. Division rivals. I think this is just good. I think you're going to have to fight for every yard. I think it's going to be very smart coaching, and I think it's somewhat conservative. Now, that could blow up my face, a somewhat conservative play calling, because if you're expecting conservative action, then you can get hurt over the top. But so I'm on the under 42. I did not send in my Pops $300 bet on the Broncos. So at that point, so now I've got $600 invested here, and then. For me, if the Broncos score first, I'll move on the Chargers. And if anybody scores early, I'll live bet the under. I want, as you guys know, all my live action in the first quarter or in the first 20 minutes of the football game. That's my wheelhouse. That's where I think I have the biggest advantage. So that's the plan. That is the plan of attack. I've copied and pasted all of the action here from Cappers on the chat. Christopher Carter also on the Chargers money line. True Teller says this feels like Rams versus 49ers all over again when he cashed easily on the Rams. So top set on Denver team total under 19.5 at plus 105. And Chris Warren saying Benito now minus 143 to record a sack is ridiculous. I've copied and pasted everybody's action here in the chat. Chris Warren with a ton of great looks. I'm going to go over all of them here. And it's interesting because, the angles that people are backing and believing are legitimate. And also, it's one of the things about trends is you can figure out the trend to work in your scenario. It's like you can figure out the angle, to back your assumption of the X's and O's and your game script. So here, BJ saying, I'm fading the public dog, and that's been such a huge angle for gamblers for so long. But you can fix that with Sweaty Butcher saying away dogs off of a win are 6-4 against the spread in 27-19-01 against spread this season. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this here, and it's going to be really fun. Join us tonight for our live stream. The pressure will be, I'm flying tomorrow. Jose Bouquet it'll be betting with Bouquet here. So I will be able to not panic with the amount of work I have to do after the live stream as well. So I'm really excited about tonight's live stream. All right, let's roll on. We have Bobano on the Chargers at minus 135. Troy on the Chargers minus 2.5, minus 115. And BJ.
Troy is on the Chargers. I thought
Troy's on it, and Troy loves it. He says the market moving towards the public dog. He has all these numbers to back. He's just loving. But he says it's the Chargers money line that is the angle.
Well, that's what I have. I don't want the 2.5. I don't want to screw around with 1 or 2 point win, which I could see it because I think this is going to be a close game. I do. Money line, just don't worry, but just money line. I don't want to have to worry about whether they win by 1, 2, or 3. Yeah.
All right. Let's roll on. Great stuff from all of you guys. We move on to the Carriers New Orleans Bowl. Georgia Southern Eagles 8-4. The Sam Houston Bearcats 9-3. We're at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. We've already heard from the wager detective. He is on the team total over for Georgia Southern, over 26.5 here. I hear you, man. It's something. It's something. Let's get into the line history and the situation, and then have Bobano rock, because we have 41 minutes left and we have 10 college basketball games. I think we're actually doing fine. Just fine here.
I'll rip through the basketball. Basketball is brief. Two sentences, and that's it.
Yeah, I think we're going to be just fine here. We have a real legit move towards Sam Houston. The Bearcats opened up at +6. They're now +4, a 2-point move towards the Bearcats. And from a total scenario, we have a 48.5. It's minus 113 to the under. This has gone up 1.5. It is juiced to the under. When we get to the cash flow here, we have Sam Houston with just 39% of the tickets and 25% of the cash, and this 2-point move towards them is appealing. 61% of tickets, 59% of cash on the over, and this line moving up 1.5 despite it being juiced to the under. Georgia Southern in the Sun Belt went 6-2 this season, while Sam Houston went also 6-2 in the Conference USA. We last saw these teams at the end of November. Georgia Southern won their second straight game, defeating App State 29-20, while Sam Houston bounced back from that loss at Jacksonville State. Bounce back. Remember, Jacksonville State won the conference. Bounce back from that 21-11 loss to beat Liberty at home 2018. And it was a big win. Liberty ended up 5-3 in conference. Take it away for us here, Bobano. This one's in the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. Georgia Southern Eagles, Sam Houston Bearcats.
No, that's not true, Gorion. Sam Houston's quarterback's in. Hunter Watson is their top quarterback. He's playing. He's in for this game. But there are issues on defense for Sam Houston. A lot of their portal players that aren't playing in this bowl game are on the defensive side of the football. So that's definitely something that would worry me here against a pretty good Georgia Southern offense. JC French, their quarterback, has been pretty solid all year. They're pretty balanced. They can throw, they can run. And Sam Houston defensively has been pretty solid, but they do have a couple of key absences. And like I said, a lot of their player portal exits are defensive players. But I don't know how you can lay points with Georgia Southern's defense. I worry about this team on that side of the ball. They've had games where it's been absolutely ugly for them. I know they shut down Coastal Carolina, but really you take out that, and there's been some games where they've absolutely been carved up. What concerns me, too, for Georgia Southern coming into this game, when you look at those defensive numbers, they've been weaker against the run, 179.8 rushing yards per game allowed, 104th in the country, and that's significant because Sam Houston is a run-first offense. No question. Sam Houston State prefers to run the football, and that's a pretty shoddy run defense they're up against here. So, but again, with Sam Houston State missing, I already bet Sam Houston, but I got it at 6.5, Jimmy. I don't feel like I want to give it out at the deflated number. I agree with the move. But there is still a good bet to make right now at the current numbers, and to me, that's the over, and that's what I like here. Over 47.5, minus 112 with this total, indoors at the Superdome. No weather issues. I find this is historically a high-scoring bowl game as well. The New Orleans Bowl has traditionally been an over bowl game. It wouldn't shock me. I think Sam Houston can run it on Georgia Southern, And I think with those defensive injuries that or not injuries, but defensive absences that Sam Houston has, Georgia Southern, the offense is their strength, they'll be able to move the football too on this Bearcats defense. So to me, that's the move to make right now. The best bet at the current numbers is that. I think we'll see enough points. And we're not asking for a shootout. Total's only 47.5. So over 47.5 minus 112.
Over 47.5 at minus 112. He also has the 6.5 on the Bearcats in his pocket. This has moved down to 4. Are you surprised that it's moved to 4, or do you think that there was just simply an overreaction with the players that were gone? It does hurt them, as they would be the favorite with everybody in. It does hurt them, but not to the extent that the 6.5 indicated.
Yeah, I'm not totally shocked because Sam Houston's been a good underdog this year. That's always been their better point spread role as a dog, not laying points with a run game. People think of a solid. Now they've been a solid defense, but I think they take a hit with the exits. But still, for the year, they've been a solid defense, run the football very effectively against a shaky run defense. That has all the elements of a team you want to be taking plus the points as an underdog. And I think that's kind of what people see. Not to mention, there's this talk that the Sun Belt is so much better than Conference USA. Yet we saw yesterday with Western Kentucky and James Madison, that was a pretty close game. That was a very competitive game. It's not like the Sun Belt team ran over the Conference USA team in that game. Yes, James Madison covered late, but it was a, kind of a fortuitous cover to win by 10 in that game. So I think that also gives people the belief that maybe Sam Houston's capable of competing. And let's not forget, they already played a Sun Belt team earlier this year and beat them, Sam Houston, when they played Texas State earlier this year. It's a pretty good team in this conference. They won outright as a dog. So I think people might see that as well and say, hey, maybe Sam Houston's good catching the points to hang around.
Skunt Blaster on the alt line plus 3.5 at plus 105. For Sir Skunt Blaster. Remember, Skunt Bags play today. Broncos money line plus 125. Sam Houston plus 3.5 at plus 105. And Utah Tech money line at plus 130. I think at this point, I'm interested in having some Bearcats action here. I've got to decide if this has just moved a little too much. Skunt Blaster saying it hasn't. So I'll spend a little bit more time on it, but I'm leaning towards the Bearcats.
Yeah, you know what? I'll add it. We've only got one game. There's not many opportunities to try to cash. I want to try to get the record back in profit here, which is definitely doable. Let's go. Plus 4.5 is the best we can do right now. Minus 110 with Sam Houston. I'll add that as well.
You are locked in here, my friend. Okay. Let's roll on to college basketball. College basketball, you've gotten off to a great start to the year here with us, and we're very thankful for it. Let's get right to work. We've got action from Rodney Barton, Morgan Spooner, Skunt Blaster. We've got a lot of action. We start with the HBCU Classic. We're going to talk about both games, but the first one here, the Chris Paul HBCU Classic, all taking place at the Mohegan Sun Arena. Let's get this all set up here for us, and let's roll. So Alabama State Hornets 4-6 versus Norfolk State Spartans 6-6. These Hornets coming off of a win, snapping their losing streak. They came back home and they won. That was 8 days ago on the 11th, Wednesday the 11th. They won 103-93 over UT Martin in overtime. They were up 18 in the first half and fell apart in the second half, but they shot the ball very well. It's just, can you imagine? You shoot 50% from the field, 47.2 from 3. You only turn the ball over 5 times. You win the turnover battle by 11. And you need overtime. It's not a good sign. There's problems here. They were 4.5-point favorites. I feel bad for anyone on the Skyhawks, to cover and losing the Dogs losing in overtime. It's that old horrific song and dance. Norfolk State's lost 3 straight. They lose to Baylor 94-69. There's no harm in that. Then they come back and they face Northern Kentucky. They fall to the North 71-62. They were just 3.5-point dogs in that one. They shot the ball horrifically. 37.9 from the field, 26.7% from 3. a pretty ugly performance by the squad. The other issue here in this one is the inability of Alabama State to rebound the ball. Take a look at the line history here. We have Norfolk State -5 at -111. They opened up -5 at -110. So we've got no movement here on this one. We get to the cash flow. Norfolk State has 62% of the tickets and 81% of the cash, but the line is not moving towards them. From a total perspective, you have 44% of tickets and 75% of cash on the under. So the under, looks like the bigger bets are coming in on it, and the line is moving in that direction. It's moving down fast, very fast. This opened up at 8:08 this morning at 149.5. We now have 146.5, a 3-point move towards the under. And you can tell that the sharp books have been losing in these small schools because the VIG skyrockets at even the sharpest books. This is -115 at each side here. And that, what does that tell you? It's beatable. Take it away, Bobano, Alabama State Hornets, Norfolk State Spartans. Are you muted, my man?
There we go. Yeah. Interesting event here, Mohegan Sun Arena. I still have scars from the last time I used Alabama State on this show. It was a couple weeks ago against Southern Miss, and they had a great first half, and I don't know what happened to them in the second half. But now they're playing, punching in their weight class, if you will. They did beat UT Martin their last game, 103-93, but UT Martin's really had a tough time of it. We'll see how they fare here in this one. Definitely, I believe Norfolk State deserving to be favored. There's no question. Will they be able to win by this kind of a margin? We'll have to wait and see. If you look at Alabama State, it's been very rough sledding for them on that defensive end of the basketball court. They have given up at least 75 plus in 6 straight games. And the last 3, 81, 93, 101 was to SMU. But the point is, it's not a great defensive team. Norfolk State, we see them. They've lost 3 in a row, but Hofstra, Baylor, Northern Kentucky, those are all pretty solid teams. So I think it's kind of a nice bounce back spot for Norfolk State. If it was closer to a 1 bucket worth of possession, I'd probably look at Norfolk State minus, if it was 2, 3, 4.5, 5, though, on a neutral court, I'm not as interested. So it's a pass.
I get that. If Alabama State has issues, we know they can score, but they have issues. And I just, if Norfolk State wasn't,
I'd lean over, but weird start time, neutral court. That's enough.
I agree. I agree with it all. I was hoping to find an angle, but we are going to move on instead. We got Ronnie Lofton in the house. Can't wait to hammer the Thursday nighter with you live, Ronnie. We got DC Capper ready to go. Bookie Buster Play Days, Grambling. That's the next one here on the board. We got Dutch Boy Fresh joining us. Troy Torrance. Let's roll. Joseph Joe says, Bobano, I can't find your link. Do you break down games every day? Yes, of course he does. With the Ice Guys, with the
at Bobano Bets on Twitter X, Joseph, everything's posted there. All the video links, all the show links, everything that I do. Everything's there.
And I'll put that in the chat here when we say goodbye to our guy Bobano. 29 minutes left, 9 games left. We're doing fine. 7 p.m. Eastern with the Oakland Golden Grizzlies 3-6, 1-1 thus far in the horizon. At the Cleveland State Vikings 6-6, 1-1 in the horizon as well. We are in Cleveland, Ohio for this one. Oakland has lost 2 straight games. They lose at Youngstown State, and then they face Michigan State. They played Michigan State at home on Tuesday. They lose 77-58 in that one. They were 16.5-point dogs at home. They were down a point at halftime, and then they fell apart. They were out-rebounded 51-31. You're just not going to win in that situation. They also shot just 30.2 from the field. They actually outshot the Spartans from 3. That was a tough game for them. For the Golden Grizzlies. Cleveland State's won 2 straight. We don't care about the Div 3 college that they beat, but they did go into Green Bay and take out the Phoenix by 22. Of course, the head coach of the Phoenix getting a ton of media attention right now. The Phoenix were 2.5-point favorites at home and lose by 22. The Cleveland State just destroyed them in that one. Let's take a look at the line history here for our game 2 on the board. We have a 128 total. This opened up at 128. There's been 7 cents of movement towards the over. When we get to the point spread here, we have Oakland -2 at -109. They open up -1.5. We have a half-point move towards the Golden Grizzlies. We take a look at the cash flow here. You have 80% of tickets, 81% of the cash on the over. And you have 46% of tickets and 78% of the cash on these Oakland Golden Grizzlies. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Grizzlies Vikings.
Yeah, I think there's a good spot for Oakland. I like Oakland here as a slight road favorite in this game. This will be my first official play on this card. We'll go with the Greg Campy, Oakland goal. That guy's a great coach. Love that guy. He is just terrific. He's coached his whole career there in that one place, and he hasn't gone to any bigger program, bigger job, and he's done just a phenomenal job here. Oakland -120, money line, the best price out there with the Golden Grizzlies. They're off that loss to Michigan State at the home of the Red Wings and the Pistons, their Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, 77-58. They'll look to bounce back here in this one against Cleveland State. To me, Cleveland State, there's a couple of issues. One is I don't think they're consistent offensively. Oakland, to me, this year, what's impressed me is they've been pretty solid, at times defensively. Offensively, they've struggled against some better teams, but, this is a defensive team that's been decent. I look at Cleveland State, struggle to score points, especially against the better competition. I mean, their wins this year, Valparaiso, who aren't that great. Eastern Michigan's not very good. NJIT is a lower tier, smaller program. Milwaukee, they get blown out 79-67. And then they beat Green Bay, who, as you just mentioned, with Doug Gottlieb, and it's a complete train wreck, that program right now. So there's really not a single quality win on Cleveland State's schedule so far. And I think with Oakland now, not just the Michigan State loss, but they also lost at Youngstown 66-50. The game before that. He got him off 2 losses in a row. This is also an Oakland team that beat Toledo on the road outright as a dog. Toledo's a solid team. I think it's just a really nice spot for what I still think is the better team in this matchup off a couple losses, and that's Oakland. So Oakland Golden Grizzlies, money line for me, -120.
You got it. Locked and loaded. I would like to get involved here on this one as well, on the Grizzlies. I like the spot there. I'd like to join you. Let's move on to the next
week for Doug Gottlieb. He's not going to last after this year. It's a one and done. He won't be back as Green Bay head coach. He can't. I mean, he's totally in over his head, and it's ridiculous. He's hosting a daily sports show when he's supposed to be coaching.
Oh, he's getting slammed everywhere. Yeah, no doubt about that. He just looks like a fan coaching. We also got Morgan Spooner on the Golden Grizzlies as well. We roll on to our next spot on the board, and here we have Rodney Barton's action on the Charleston Southern Buccaneers. He's got him +7.5. They're 3-9, 1-6 on the road at the North Alabama Lions, 7-4, 4-1 at home. We're in Flowers Hall in Florence, Alabama for the Lions here. Lions have won 2 straight. The last one was a nice road victory over the East Carolina Pirates. They were 7.5-point dogs. They completely dominated. They were up 36-22 at the half. There was some fight back by the Pirates, but it was still a very impressive victory for North Alabama. Now they face a Charleston Southern team that played Davidson really tight in that 73-72 loss on the road. Came back and then got beaten up by South Carolina State. They were just 1.5-point dogs in that one and badly beaten, 42-28 in the first half. They shot 12.5 points from 3. That's not the excuse for the loss, because South Carolina State shot 10% from 3. It was the turnovers. Charleston Southern turned the ball over 17 times, while SC State only turned the ball over 5 times. Doesn't matter if you win the rebounding battle there, you're just, you're going to lose. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Billy Friedrich says North Alabama rolls. They're 4-0 against spread at home this season. Charleston Southern is a bottom 20 team in the nation. Jermaine looking at the over in this one. Let's take a look at the line history and then hand it over to Bobano. We have North Alabama -9 at -110. This got down to 8 for a little while. It's right back at 9 at -110. Let's move on to the total. From a total perspective, we got a 146.5 here. No movement at all. This opened up at this number, and it is there right now. Now, it's only been available for about 4.5 hours. And then we get to the cash flow here. We have 38% of tickets, 21% of the cash on Charleston Southern. So North Alabama 62 and 79. From a total perspective, 60 and 60 on the over. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Buccaneers Lions in Florence, Alabama.
I don't disagree with what Billy's saying. North Alabama is a bet on or pass team for me. I've cashed with North Alabama a few times this year. I took them against East Carolina. They won outright. Here's the thing, though. They're laying a big number right before the holidays. Home game. What's the crowd going to be like? A situation as well with not as great of a home court, advantage in a lot of these spots. And their next game after this is at Loyola Marymount, which is not like some big look-ahead spot, but the trip to California could be for these kids, right? You're going out to the West Coast, you're playing in California. Are you focused now off a big road win against East Carolina? Are you focused for a weaker Charleston Southern team at home tonight's the big question. So that's the only thing that's holding me up here with laying the points. I lean North Bama. They're the much better team. There's no denying that whatsoever. I like, and I've cashed with them a few times. I just don't know if that's the right price, the right time, the right spot here tonight in this game. What I do like, though, because I do have an official play here, is the over. I think we'll see points. Both of these teams are top 200 in tempo. Both teams are better offensively and efficiency than defensively. And you're getting not a bad number at Bet Rivers, over 46. Not 46. If it's over 46, I'm unloading. Over 146, minus 112 with this total. So that's the way I'm playing it. Charleston and North Alabama, over 146, minus 112.
Over 146 at minus 112. You are locked and loaded. The respect play of the day is on St. Mary's minus 20 from our guy Rez Mob. The 4-game winning streak of the respect play day was snapped. That is our final game that we'll be breaking down with Bobano. Rez Mob in the house. Rez, thank you for sharing that with us. We have Bobano moving on the over from the.
I may have to disrespect that play, Rez Mob, unfortunately, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that game because Merrimack put it all out there in that first game on this trip. So I'm not heavy on them doing that again, but I can't wait to talk about it. With everything that's broken down here for this spot for North Alabama, it does feel like Charleston Southern, it's got to be a look ahead. It's hard to not kind of overlook these guys coming in right now before this trip to California. I'm interested in Charleston Southern.
They've been awesome at home, too. That's another thing that concerns me about fading North Alabama. But you're right, it's not a North Alabama spot. It's definitely not a prime spot for them. So it's one of these deals where I can't go against North Bama. They've been good to me. They've been really good at home. But I don't know. Like I said, it's the optimal spot not to take them as well.
I feel like that first half, because North Alabama can gather themselves and take control of this basketball game at some point. Kind of like that first half. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on it. Let's move on to the next spot. We go back to the Chris Paul HBCU Classic in Mohegan Sun Arena. And DC Capper is giving us his play of the day. He's on Grambling State minus 5.5 here in this one. Let's get this one all set up to attack here. This is a fun HBCU tourney, and Chris Paul, a big part of it. We have Grambling State off losses. When you go through their season thus far, they've not beaten a Div 1 school. Their losses are against, cupcakes way below this Div 1. And they've had some real tough games. I mean, they went to Ole Miss and lost by 2. They went to Florida and lost by 24. They went to New Mexico and lost by 22. They went to USC and lost by 11. They lost to 3 at Cal Poly. They got destroyed at Pepperdine. They just came back on Monday and lost 75-65 to Southeast Louisiana Lions. Grambling was 2.5-point favorites, and they just looked tired or exhausted. They didn't defend. They did nothing. They got 14 rebounds in that basketball game, Bobano. 14 rebounds. I mean, they just mailed it in. It's a really wild to watch here. And now they face Delaware State on a neutral floor. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have a total at 142. It's juiced to the over. This opened up at 142. So we have 4 cents of movement towards the over. On the point spread here, Delaware State are 5-point dogs. Even at -5, this has moved 8 cents towards Grambling. Even with Grambling looking so bad last week, I guess you can explain it. Delaware State has won 2 straight games. They just beat NJIT. They beat them 71-59, beat the Highlanders, who have not won a game on the road all year. Delaware State were 4.5-point favorites and took care of business, but how bad is NJIT? 32.1 from field, 18.5 from 3, and Delaware State out-rebounded them 54-32. Take it away for us here. This is a tricky one, Bobano. We have Grambling and Delaware State.
Yeah, I feel it's a good bounce back spot for Grambling, but do I want to lay 5.5 on a neutral? Probably not. That's probably going to be what ends up keeping me off the game here overall. You look at Delaware State, they're off back-to-back home wins against Loyola Maryland and NJIT, but you get them away from home, and it's been, a lot of dicey for this team. This is not a true road game, but still away from the cozy confines of their home gym. They've, blown out by Columbia out of the Ivy League, 30-point loss at Providence, 10-point loss to Mount St. Mary's, 13-point loss to Delaware. They did cover against Texas, but barely. They lost by 22 as a 34.5-point underdog there. Not a lot that proves to me that Delaware State away from home is going to be a team that I fully trust here in this game. And if you look at the particular matchups here with this particular game, and plus Bart Torvik's only got Grambling -4, and I really respect that website, as I've said on countless occasions. It's going to be a pace war. Grambling will slow it down. Delaware State's going to look to speed it up. Grambling does have the better defensive team. What's interesting to me, though, and what could tilt the scales in Grambling's favor, that's why I'm leaning that way, they're pretty good shooting the 3-ball. Delaware State's not good with their perimeter defense. That's definitely a matchup advantage in Grambling's favor. Like I said, I lean Grambling. That being said, it's moved already down a little bit. If it gets down to that 3-4 range, I'm interested. But at 5.5, it's a pass.
Morgan Spooner says neutral site games come down to who wants them more. Grambling had 15 rebounds in their last game. They lost a rebound battle to a Cal Poly team who plays 5 out. It's on Delaware State money line and the points as Delaware State won the rebound battle versus Mount St. Mary's, who starts 3-6-8 plus.
You have some
forward.
size, Delaware State. You're right. So rebounding is definitely something to keep an eye on here. Might be able to win a war on the glass with Grambling here.
In saying that, Delaware State has 78% of tickets and 74% of the cash on them. I don't know if the line's really moving in their direction. It's a coin flip on the total here. A fascinating spot. I'm going to continue to cap. And DC Capper on Grambling State, Morgan Spooner on Delaware State. We move on. We head to the Curb Event Center Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. UC Irvine on a road trip. The Anteaters, who've looked very good this year, 9-1 and 3-1 on the road. At the Belmont Bruins, 9-2, 5-1 at home. This is one of the funner games on the card tonight. UC Irvine opened up this road trip. They opened it with a loss at Oregon State, 67-55. They were just 2.5-point dogs. They shot poorly, 37 from the field, 30 from 3. Got out rebounded, did a lot wrong. They were in the game. They were certainly in the game, but they fell apart. We have, in that snap there, winning streak, a real legit winning streak. Speaking of legit winning streaks, Belmont comes in off of a 5-game winning streak. Their only loss was to Loyola Marymount on a neutral site. They're coming off a 93-66 win on Saturday at Richmond. They went into Richmond, Virginia, and took them out as 1.5-point favorites. They shot the ball very well, 57.9 from the field and 48.1% from 3. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have UC Irvine as 2-point favorites. Now, that's with no VIG, but they opened up as 3.5-point favorites. So we've had a 1.5 move towards Belmont here. On the total, we have a 153. It's heavily juiced to the over, so we see 154 is around. This opened up at 152, so it's higher than 153, but that's what's listed right now. When we get to the cash flow here for UC Irvine Belmont, we have 42% of the tickets, 43% of the cash on the over. And on the, we'll have to look at spread and money line. On the spread, just 26% of the tickets and 24% of cash on UC Irvine. Belmont public line moving towards them. It's the exact opposite on the money line, though. Belmont has just 22% of tickets and 24% of the cash on that money line. Morgan Spooner says UC Irvine's schedule plays a tough road schedule every year. They've already been around the country. This is a good rebound spot for UC Irvine. Belmont has a huge game versus Drake up next. He's on UC Irvine. Billy Friedrich, by the way, on Tennessee Tech money line is the pig milk play of the day. Shout out to our guy Billy Friedrich. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Anteaters Bruins in Nashville.
Yeah, those are fair points with the Drake game on tap. But you're going to give me this team, as a very, very rare home underdog. I'm taking them every single time. I like Casey Alexander. I like Belmont here in this situation. This is a long trip all the way, out from California too for Irvine. What concerns me is Belmont wants to speed things up. I think the over is probably worth a look too in this game because both teams are top 100 in pace. This is not your old Irvine team. They're playing fast. 66th in tempo, 33rd for Belmont. And this total, I believe, courtesy of Torvik, has it at 155. So certainly when it opened, it was a little low. And I can still find 153.5 minus 110 with this total. So I'm going to go over 153.5 minus 110 and Belmont plus 2.5 minus 110 in this game. The turnovers are an issue to me for Irvine. They do commit a bunch. They're 295th in turnover rate offensively, and Belmont can force them. And Belmont, when they get out in transition, they are very difficult at times. And I think that could be a matchup advantage tilting in the Bruins' favor here in this game. Like I said, Irvine off in a bounce back spot after losing to Oregon State, but traveling all the way out there against a Belmont team that I believe on this home court is very good. And like I said, you get them as a rare home underdog. I'll take my chances with them getting these 2.5 points. I think Irvine. I also don't think Irvine's nearly as dominant and maybe not quite the size either down low in the paint that they've had in years past either. I know their record's still pretty good, but to me, this is a little bit of a tough matchup and factor in the travel from out west as well. I think Belmont's the way to go, plus 2.5. And I like the over as well, 153.5. You're going to give me two teams that'll play fast with a low 150s total. I'm usually going to bet over 99% of the time.
You are locked in, my friend. We roll on. Next up for us, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, the Lipscomb Bisons, 7-4, 3-3 on the road this year at Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders, 8-3, 4-1 at home. We're at Murfreesboro, Tennessee at the Murphy Center for this one. Both teams just played on Monday, and they had the Lipscomb Bisons had 11 days off. They played Truett McConnell, Div 3 school. Their last game was on December 5th. We go all the way back to December 5th. They beat up on Southeast Missouri State. That came on the heels of them beating up on Chattanooga, which was impressive here. So this team is in the throes of a 5-game winning streak. Now 4 of them against Div 1 competition. The Blue Raiders bounced back from that loss, 82-79 at Belmont. By beating up Cal Baptist in pretty impressive fashion. Now they were 4.5-point favorites. They won by 11. It was one of those, Jekyll and Hyde first half, second half. 48 points scored in the first half, 91 in the second half, and they just took care of business and won comfortably here. Let's take a look at the line history for this one. We have the total right now at 148 minus 119 to the over. There's been 4 cents of movement towards the over. We get to the point spread. We have Middle Tennessee 2-point favorites, -2 at -108. This opened -2.5 at -110. It's bounced from 2 to 2.5. Went down to 1.5 right around showtime. Back at 2. We have a half-point move towards Lipscomb. And when we get to the cash flow here, on the money line, 9% of the tickets and 8% of the cash on Lipscomb. It's all on Middle Tennessee. This line's not moving towards them. On the spread, it's a little more. There's 36% of the tickets and 37% cash on Lipscomb. It's fascinating that this line is not moving towards Middle Tennessee with all the money on them. 78% of tickets, 78% cash on the over. Take it away for us here, Bobano. We head to Murfreesboro, Tennessee for Blue Raiders Bisons. You're muted, my man.
When it's basically my general rule with Middle Tennessee over the years is when they're at home and they're either an underdog or a small favorite, I don't really like betting against them. They've got a pretty good home court over the years. There's no question. We'll have to see how they fare here because I do think Lipscomb is the better team, quite honestly. But at the same point in time, you look at what we've seen here from Lipscomb. They've also faced, pretty tough a non-conference schedule. Kentucky, Western, Belmont. We just talked about they lost at home to Belmont, 80-79. Played Arkansas as well. They've won 5 in a row, but what's their best win? Probably Chattanooga, but Chattanooga's been a massive disappointment so far this year. So I don't know how much you want to put into that as far as Lipscomb's victory there. Meanwhile, you look at Middle Tennessee, and like I said, they're 4-1 at home. Their only home loss, I believe, was Murray State in that game, and it was a pretty ugly one, 88-67. I lean Middle Tennessee State. I do. At this price, I think they're team I don't want to go against. They've been pretty good on this Murphy Center floor over the years. But I'm a little leery because I do think Lipscomb's maybe a little bit better as far as the overall roster. So I'm going to stay off this one.
I have some interest in Lipscomb based on the market. I'm going to have to study it a little more at this point to move on it. But the fact that you're not on the other side is at least appealing. Let's roll on. We have 4 games left. 4 games left here, and we have 6 minutes. 8 p.m. Eastern, SIU Edwardsville Cougars opening up their Ohio Valley Conference, record here. This is their first game. Same with the Little Rock Trojans. We're in Little Rock, Arkansas, at the Jack Stevens Center. We have Little Rock having their 3-game winning streak snapped in a loss at home to UIC in overtime, 77-69. They were 2.5-point favorites and got beaten up on the boards, didn't shoot the ball well, and failed to menace. We have the Cougars here on back-to-back wins, but the last one was against the Eureka Red Devils. Obviously not Div 1 competition, winning 100-52 in that one. So weak competition here for SIU Edwardsville. Both teams played on Sunday. Let's get to the line history here. We have SIU +4. It's juiced to them at +4. This has come down from 4.5, so we've had a half-point move towards the Cougars. Sorry, I switched that on the wrong one. Let's move over to the total. From a total side of things here, we have a 136.5 juice to the over. This opened up at 139, and it got all the way down here to, I guess 136.5. It looked like it got lower than, 135.5. It went down to 135.5 right when the show started. So we've had some buyback, but still a big move towards the under. And when we get to the cash flow for this 8 p.m. start, we have 64% of the tickets, 60% of cash on the over. And on the spread, we have 76% of tickets and 89% of cash on SIU Edwardsville. Take it away, Bobano.
Yeah, this is SIU Edwardsville. You look at early in the season, they covered as a road dog at Indiana. They covered as one outright as a road dog at Indiana State. They did get blown out by Illinois, but in this road dog role, they've actually been pretty solid. They actually lost to Green Bay. I'm still wondering how that happened when we've talked about how bad Green Bay's been. But really outside of that, they've been pretty good on the road in these spots, catching points. Little Rock's off a 77-69 loss to Illinois Chicago. The Flames in their last game. Still 4-1, though, overall on this home court. But, you look at this Little Rock schedule to be 6-5 at this point, and, they haven't played the greatest of opponents. They played Illinois and Arkansas. Those are pretty good, but other than that, it's been pretty light for Little Rock. Edwardsville, they've played Arkansas and Illinois too as well, but still they've had a couple of little bit better opponents too. They played Indiana. They played Indiana State. There's been, I think, just a little. North Florida is a pretty solid team. Edwardsville had to play them, so a little bit better strength of schedule for Edwardsville. They've been good in the road dog role. I think I see enough here to take SIU Edwardsville in this particular spot here. Don't love the fact that Little Rock's off a loss, so they should be focused. But again, these home courts are devalued at this time of year, in my opinion. So I don't mind grabbing 4.5 -120 with SIU Edwardsville.
+4.5 at -124. Bobano. Let's roll over to Laramie, Wyoming. The Cowboys 4-0 at home this year, taking on the Bellarmine Knights, who are 0-5 on the road. We just saw Bellarmine lose at home on Saturday. They lost 86-82 to Ball State. They were 3.5-point dogs, and they lost by 4. It's a pretty clean game, pretty good basketball game there, but they failed to get the victory or cover. Going up against Wyoming in the throes of this 4-game losing streak, coming off losing at home to BYU 68-49. They were 15.5-point dogs, and they got taken to the woodshed. Only scored 49 points in that basketball game, but this is much easier competition. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Just heard from Jermaine on the over 141. Let's start with that move. We have 141 here on the docket, but this has come down from, now it's down to 140. This just moved to 140. We have a 3-point move towards the under now. So this opened up 143, now down to 140. And then on the spread, we have Wyoming minus 14 at minus 104. They opened up minus 14.5, so a half-point move towards Bellarmine. And then when we get to the cash flow, 29% of the tickets and 68% of cash on Wyoming, 62 and 62 on the over. Is this a great bounce back spot for Wyoming? Shout out to Dav Fenn, by the way, who's on Edwardsville points and money line. And Joseph Joe, the lines that I'm giving you are what they are right now at a very sharp offshore book. So I'm not behind on anything. They're updated every minute. Jermaine on Justin McKelvey on Wyoming here. Take it away for us, Bobano. Wyoming at home. Is this a great bounce back spot for them?
I think it is offensively for sure, because Bellarmine is a disaster defensively. They gave up 86 at home to Ball State, but on the road, 86 allowed to Western Carolina, 86 allowed to Northern Kentucky, 100 given up to Louisville, 83 given up to Marshall. They have not stopped anything of late. They have given up at least 80 points to the competition in all their Division I games. Each of their last 5 Division I games, they've given up at least 80 points. So to me, this feels like a good spot for Wyoming to do what they want offensively. Wyoming coming, and I don't think Wyoming's great this year, but they're off 4 straight losses, pretty tough schedule, pretty tough road trip too. And they've been on the road or at a neutral court for a while. Loyola Marymount, Utah State's a good team. They only lost by 3 there. They lose 82-81 South Dakota. They did get blasted by BYU in their last game, but nice bounce back spot. Like I said, Bellarmine is not stopping anybody at the defensive end of the court right now. So the move to me is not, I lean Wyoming laying the points, but to me, the better option here, let's take team total. It's 76.5 right now for Wyoming against a team that's given up 80 or more in 5 straight games against Division I foes, many of those on the road. And of course, this game's in Laramie. This is a 361st ranked team in the country, defensive efficiency, Bellarmine. That's how bad they've been. I like Wyoming, but I like their team total specifically. Over 76.5, minus 112.
So this is going to be my plan for this one here. I'm going to take Wyoming first half. If I don't cover it, I'm going to bet them live during our live stream.
You'll probably get one of the two, at least.
Yeah, so I've got that set. So I'm going to take Wyoming first half. If I catch it, it's all good, all gravy. If I don't, I will bet it live at the half. Bobano on Wyoming, team total over 76.5. Okay, 2 games left. Let's roll quick. We have Long Beach State 4-8, 1-3 on the road at Pepperdine. Waves 5-6, 4-1 at home at Firestone Fieldhouse in Malibu, California. Long Beach State on a 3-game winning streak. We last saw them take out San Diego 76-70 on the road. They were 3.5-point dogs. They shot the ball very well. 58.1 from the field, 53.8 from 3. Just exceptional shooting here from Long Beach State. And then we have Pepperdine also on a 3-game winning streak. They're coming off defeating Northern Arizona at home 86-76 as just 3.5-point favorites. They also shot the ball very well, 54.2 and 53.8 from 3. Let's get into the line history here. This is our second to last game on the board before we have Darryl making his season debut with us, which I'm very excited about. We have Pepperdine minus 6.5 with no vig minus 101. This opened up at 6, half-point move towards the Waves. Then on the total, we have this at 139. It's juiced to the under at minus 112. This has come down from 140.5. We have a 1.5 move towards the under. And cash flow wise, 48% of tickets, 59% of cash on Pepperdine, 55% of tickets, 60% cash on the under. Take it away for us here, Bobano, second to last game on the board in Malibu, California, Long Beach, Pepperdine.
Yeah, the beach plus the points I like here. Starting to build a little momentum. Look, dreadful start to the year for Long Beach. There's no question about that. I mean, their only win was against the first game against Laverne Leopards, 93-48, and then they just had this brutal run of 8 straight losses. But the schedule was pretty tough. South Dakota State, San Francisco, Gonzaga, Fresno State, Greensboro, UTEP, and Neutral Court, San Jose. Lots of travel and tougher teams. And then they finally settle in, to more of a balanced schedule. And now all of a sudden they've ripped off 3 straight wins, 3 straight covers. I love teams like this. Teams that start off so bad that they're devalued beyond belief. And then just when they start to turn a corner, there's so much value backing them and backing them game in and game out. I believe I had Long Beach on my card last week on the show on the Thursday, and they got the job done. Again, no, it was 2 weeks ago at Fullerton. I remember being on them. They were 5-point dogs. They won 73-56. Against Hawaii, home dogs, they win outright. San Diego, road dogs, they win outright. They're starting to finally get their offense going a little bit. And that's been the problem a lot during the losses, just not shooting the ball very well. I definitely think Long Beach tonight can hang with this Pepperdine team. Holy shit. But I do like them, plus the points here in this game, Long Beach, to hang in there. There's still a little bit of a shaky team here, a little bit defensively, Pepperdine. So we'll go with Long Beach in this game. And I think you can get plus 6.5 with them here. Yes, plus 6.5, minus 108.
You are locked and loaded, Bobano. Let's move on to the last spot on the board before we get into NBA. We have the respect play of the day here. St. Mary's minus 20 at minus 110 from our guy, Rez Mob. I spent some time on this game. I found it quite fascinating. We have St. Mary's coming off of a loss. They call it a neutral loss, but it was in Idaho. It just, wasn't in the Boise State's home arena. This one was at the Mountain America Center. St. Mary's lost by 2 in overtime. They lost as 2.5-point favorites. They shot the ball poorly, 37.7 from the field, 33.3 from 3. And despite playing clean basketball, as they often do, took the L. So is this an angry group facing Merrimack? Merrimack looked quite good, was rolling, and then went out on this road trip, this really fun California trip. They started with that 74-68 loss at Stanford. They came on in the second half heavy and started playing some very good basketball. 15.5-point dogs, and they put some fear into Stanford here. This was a very close game. They were down 31-14 at one point, and then got their shit together and started playing some good basketball. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have Merrimack right now. This total at 128.5, juice to the over at minus 111. It's opened up at 126.5, climbed all the way to 129.5 before there was a little bit of buyback. Then on the point spread here, we have Merrimack 20.5-point dog, slightly juiced towards them. They opened up plus 20. This got up to 21.5, and now it's at 20.5. So we have a half-point move towards St. Mary's. Take a look at the cash flow here for this last spot on the board for us. We have just 15% of the tickets and 33% of the cash on St. Mary's. A lot of people backing Merrimack here. The market not showing any concern. 65% of the tickets, 66% of cash on the over. Interesting, because we've already had Bobano intimate that he's not going to be on the respect play of the day. And I wonder what he thinks of the bounce back opportunity for St. Mary's, or he just believes that Merrimack will get better as this road trip, this fun California trip, moves on. Take it away for us here, Merrimack, St. Mary's.
Oh, sorry about that. The last time they were in a bounce back spot, they lost at Arizona State. They came home against UTSA. They only won by 8. They were 23-point favorites. They won by 8, 82-74. So, bounce back spot, yeah, but you got to win by 21, or with the number I've got, you got to win by 22. If you're St. Mary's, they have one win this year, St. Mary's, by more than 20 points. And that was against USC, and USC played an all-time bad game. and that was on a neutral court. They have not shown an ability to win by big margins like this. St. Mary's a really good team again, but they have not shown the ability to win by big margins like this. Is there even going to be enough possessions in this basketball game to get a margin, to build a margin like this? Because you've got Merrimack, 323 in the country in pace, 352 for St. Mary's. It's going to be a snail pace played in the half court on both sides, limited possessions. There's going to have to be a high degree of offensive efficiency and execution here for St. Mary's if they're going to cover this kind of a number with how slow this game is going to be played at. So that's another concern. Not to mention, you look at Merrimack in this road dog roll. At Stanford, they lost by 6. At Troy, they won outright. At UMass Lowell, they lost by 7. They had one game where they fell flat on the road at Butler, and they were coming off a great game against Rutgers where they lost only by 11. So away from home, Merrimack's been very scrappy. They slow the game down. They play pretty good defense. 3 words to me, just too many points, in my opinion. It was a St. Mary's team that's only won by this kind of margin once all season long. So I'm on Merrimack here, plus 21.5, minus 105.
Plus 21.5 at minus 105 for Bobano. And important, Billy Figure says, I hate laying big numbers in college basketball this close to Christmas. Finals are over with, and players just want to get home to family. Let's review all. But Bobano, take off, my man. I kept you 8 minutes late. Thank you so much for all of your hard work. I will review all of your action. Get that cash. You've been dominating college basketball, and I know we've got winners coming up in NHL. We just got to dig in. Thank you for all your time. Don't forget, Bobano, star of the Ice Guys, 7 days a week, star of Hitting the Books YouTube channel, Monday for football, Friday for basketball, and the NBA OG show, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm going to pop his X handle here in the chat. Please support our guy, Ian Cameron. Bobano, any last words for the Capri Sport in the show?
No, just good luck to everyone in the chat tonight. Enjoy the games. Good luck. You too, Jimmy, and we'll see you again next time.
I love it. There he is, Mr. Ian Cameron here. Ken Davis says Sam Houston missing a bunch of starters due to the portal, which is why he bet Georgia Southern. I know I'm behind catching up. All good, Ken. Did you must have got in on them probably really early. I'd be curious to hear how early you got in on them. It is time now to move on to NBA. We have an absolute monster NBA program here today. 13 games here. But am I tripping here? Oh, there he is. I just had to look a little closer. Let's bring on a star of our basketball programming here on Pub Sports Radio, making his return, his triumphant return to betting with the bag, coming to us from Los Angeles, California. We had the pleasure hanging out with him at Pubapalooza 3, and a lot of the memories are pretty vague. I was extremely intoxicated. Try not to be as intoxicated this year, but that's not something I can guarantee. Please welcome the star of...
You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Darryl Rice in the house. D, what's good, man? How are you?
What's going on, Jay? What's going on, brother? What is going on? Happy to be back, man. Happy to be back. It's been a while. Man. But how you been, brother? How you been?
I'm better now to have you back. It's hard for me to there he is. Get closer to us.
Okay.
Look at that. Sipping on the vino, just like our guy Wine Time. Look at who's back in business. We've missed you, Darryl. We have missed you, my man. Thank you for being back in business with us, rocking with us. We got the Clark Edge in the house. Great to see you, Clark Edge. How are you, my man? You are starting out your season here with us on a monster 13-game slate. How has the season gone for you thus far?
So, funny thing, this year I've done a lot of prop plays. So I started every year. I wanted to try something different. When we first started, I was really more into sides, not even really looking at totals and things like that. And then kind of eventually moved into totals. And now, starting to look at a lot of props, You can find some spots there. But I've been doing okay. I'd be lying to you if I told you that I've been heavy into it. So it's always a show like this, and then of course the Bag family that gets me back motivated to put my cap hat on and start doing some things, man. So I'm ready. It's a lot of games today, and I'm not going to be too wordy. So I just want to try to find some money, man. That's ultimately what we want to do, is try to find some money. So let's do it.
Let's get on the hunt, my friend. Welcome back. We have missed you. You're getting a lot of love from Tappers in the chat. We got Darryl back in business. Let's roll. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern with the Utah Jazz 5-20, 3-10 on the road. Detroit Pistons 11-16, 5-7 home. We're at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. I've got a lot of the injury notes here, but I still think it's prudent to pull up what's going on today at shoot-arounds and all that. So let me just pull this up, just because there's a lot of players that are game-time decisions and questionable as teams have had a little bit of time off. So let's get this all set up here so we can – I should have already had this set up. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Let's roll. Utah, over their past 5 games, 1-4, 16th fastest pace in the league, 99.8 possessions a game. Shooting the ball very well, surprisingly. 49.9 from the field and 41.2 from 3. When was the last time you had both of these teams shooting well at the same time? Well, it's happening right now. Detroit shooting 48% from the field over the last 5 games and 41.1 from 3. 9th fastest pace in the league, 101.68. That has given them a 2-3 record over the past 5. We know Isaiah Stewart is out for the Pistons. The game time decisions are Jaden Ivey, who's listed as doubtful. Okay, so we have Jaden Ivey out. We have Isaiah Stewart out. So then the question is Tobias Harris? Yes, probable. So Tobias Harris will be in. Cunningham, Beasley, Hardaway, Harris, and Jalen Duren. That is your starting 5 for the Jazz. It's Kessler, Collins, Markkanen, Sexton, and George for them. Let's get into the line history and then the cash flow, and then I'll say a couple things, and then our guy Darryl will take over. We have the Pistons right now -4.5 with no vig. So there's been a 2-cent move towards the Utah Jazz at this number at 4.5, a 2-cent move towards the Jazz. When we get into the total, we have a 227. It's -108 to the over. This opened up right there. We've had a 1-cent move towards the over. Drewski says Pistons ain't good enough to be laying -4.5. You start talking about NBA basketball and saturated appears.
Saturated.
He got 9.5 assists yesterday. Kong's Clips giving you a shout out as well. Great to see all of you guys here. Yes, Kong, I will recap college basketball. Sorry, I will recap it. I think we're going to start running through NBA here, but I should have done that, and I apologize here. I'll do a full recap here for sure. Let's get to the cash flow here, because we've had no movement on side or total. 32% of tickets and 28% of the cash is on the Utah Jazz. I've actually done pretty well with the Jazz this year.
Really?
I have. I've found the right times to back. Look at my sample size of action. It's very low.
Yeah. But are you picking a side or total with the Jazz?
On the side, I backed the Jazz, and they've been pretty good to me. I've taken a couple L's with them, but overall, positive ROI. We have 82% of tickets and 85% of cash on the over. So you take Ivy and Stewart off of this team. You have the Jazz as healthy as they've been for some time. Jazz are appealing. They come off their 3rd straight loss, falling 144-107 to the Clippers on Monday. Over those last 3 games, they've given up an average of 139.7 points per game. Horrific. But Lauri Markkanen has been back, and he's not looked good. 7 games he's been back. He's gone for 20-plus once. Pistons come in off their second win in 3 games, 125-124 in overtime versus the Heat on Monday. Almost blew that 19-point lead. We were talking about it during our Monday night live stream, and Tim Hardaway came in and saved the day for Pistons backers. And Tobias Harris in, Ivy and Stewart out. Take it away for us here. Derl, your first game back with your fam. Jazz.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited about it. So this is the way I'm going to look at this. The only way I really could look at this game right now is the over. You look at the trends. Total has gone over on 5 of Utah's last 5 games on the road. I believe they just got mopped by the Clippers.
Yeah.
And that was 2 days ago. Where it's funny that I kind of go back to my wheelhouse. Where the Jazz have been absolutely trash is the first quarter. They're on the bottom tier. They started to kind of uptick a little bit if you looked at their last few games, even though they've lost them. And then they got mopped by the Clippers like 44-20 in the first quarter. So it just seemed like they were kind of sliding back down to how they usually play. They're in the bottom tier of first quarter scoring. And I was looking at going first quarter here. I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. Detroit is a little bit better. And quite frankly, Detroit has played some harder opponents. They actually beat the Heat, I believe, last game. And Jimmy came off what? A monster performance. Well, I shouldn't say monster. He had 30 points. But they played Boston twice. They beat New York. So if you're looking at the caliber of teams that Detroit has played in comparison to Utah, I think Detroit has played the harder 5-game span here. And so I could only look at Detroit. They're very, very, very similar as far as what they do in the first quarter in scoring. But if you give me a point and Detroit only has to win by a basket in the first quarter, I would go that route at home. So I haven't stepped on that. So I'm looking at Detroit -1 first quarter. Where I have played, just as far as props, are Colin Sexton's over 1.5 threes. Now it's got a higher probability of hitting, but he goes through phases where he doesn't hit at all. He'll hit 1 3, and that 3 will come very early. He'll hit a 3 in the first quarter. But for right now, I'm going to still cap that. But I like the over in this game. I really, really like Detroit -1 in the first quarter, and I might get there with Colin Sexton, but no official play.
Interesting. So these are leans right now.
Mhm.
Pistons first quarter -1, and then the full game over. I think the market is telling us that the Utah Jazz are live here. They're coming off horrific defensive performances. Obviously, that's been a focal point. They got to play some better defensively. They have Markkanen playing poorly, but he gets the break. The defense gets the break. And it's possible that the Pistons didn't want the break. They were rolling, playing good basketball. So I think the Jazz +4.5 is live. I'm interested in it, very interested in the Jazz +4.5.
Right? I couldn't talk you off of it. Talisman Red, the sports analytics site, reads this home by 7.68, total 230. So take that for what it's worth.
So they've got Detroit to take care of business here. I'm very, very interested in the Jazz +4.5. So let's roll on. Next up for us, 7 p.m. Eastern, Oklahoma City Thunder 20-5, 9-3 on the road at the Orlando Magic, 17-11, 10-1 at home at the Kia Center in Orlando, Florida. I mean, this obviously piqued my interest here because my thought was, if there was a game that you're not going to have a bounce back spot, it'll be after losing the NBA Cup and losing the way they did. I don't think they have to go again 48 hours later. I didn't think this was a very good spot for the Thunder. And I was looking can I find a way to back Orlando without Banchero and Wagner and Harris? And the answer was no.
No, absolutely not.
I couldn't. Let's take a look at the line history. But in saying that, I it's Magic or nothing for me.
Really?
Yeah, without a doubt. This is not your regular loss. This is a horrific loss in Vegas, an tired group on a tired run. This is not this. I love the situational bounce back spots. Wasn't sure if this was one of them, man. So this +6 opened up for the Magic. It moved to 6.5. I was looking at this yesterday. I was looking at it last night and moved to 7. I almost moved on it at 7, moved back to 6.5, went back to 7 again this morning, and it moved back to 6.5 about 45 minutes ago. So we have had a half-point move towards the Thunder. On the total here, we have a 210.5. This opened up at 210. The interesting part of this was this shot all the way up to 213 before there was buyback down to the original number. When we get to the cash flow here, obviously I was looking at this last night and it made the Magic appealing. 24% of the tickets, 26% of cash, 89% of the tickets, and 85% of cash on the over. We saw it go up and then it dropped back down. The Thunder are still 5-0 and on a 5-game winning streak because, of course, the NBA Cup Finals doesn't count for statistics or anything like that. So they've won their last 5 games, 100.3 possessions a game, 15th in the league, 48.7 from the field, and 37.4 from 3. Orlando is 2-3 over their past 5, playing at the slowest pace in the NBA, 95.4 possessions a game. Their field goal percentage being strong all year at 45%. Their 3-point shooting here has been atrocious all year long, 28.6%. Sean Pulliam, big ball spot on Orlando money line. Billy Friedrich on OKC first half -3.5. So the Thunder, of course, coming off the horrific NBA Cup final, they shot 5 of 32 from 3. They shot 33.7 from the field. Shea continues to deliver, and so does Jalen Williams. Magic coming off their second straight loss in 3rd and 4 games, 191 at home versus the Knicks on Sunday. They're beat up without Banchero and Wagner. It's, Jalen Suggs, and it's Franz's brother Moritz who's stepped up. These are the 2 teams that allow the least amount of points in the NBA, 103.5 each. Take it away for us, Derl. Game 2 on the board, Thunder Magic.
Yeah. So first thing I'll do is I have been playing this prop off and on. Jalen Williams, give me Jalen Williams 2 threes. It might be pretty juiced. I don't care here. I don't care that Jalen Williams is going to hit that. Now this is a game that I'm really going to kind of take a more analytical approach on maybe what the players are thinking and maybe how we should have thought. These guys, they're in Vegas for 3 days, man, before their next game. They win against Houston, and then they are in Vegas for 3 days. A bunch of young guys in Vegas with nothing to do, man, for 3 days. What do you think is going to happen? And I wish I would have thought about that before. I didn't actually bet the game, but I was talking to a friend of mine who did, and he was like, all angles point toward OKC winning this game against Milwaukee. Now, I guess we really need to pay attention to where if Giannis comes out and says, we are not losing this game, we need to kind of pay attention to that when he says that, because they have been on a tear lately. And what that game really showed me is that OKC is good. They're a great team. They're a really good team. They need to be fully healthy, but they're just not there just yet. They're not there just yet. And so it's going to take a little more time. I don't know. I don't see them winning a championship. They're going to go far in the playoffs, obviously, but I don't see them winning a chip at all or coming out of the West, actually. I don't see them coming out of the West. But with all that said, Orlando Magic is a team that OKC should absolutely take care of. And I think there's 2 ways we got to approach this. That loss did hurt. It doesn't count against their record, but it sure did, in a lot of cases with these young guys, hurt their pockets. Right, that was still 512 stacks or 520, however much it was, that they could have gotten. So all in all, I do believe this is a bounce back spot for OKC. That's just my opinion here. And Orlando, even though they are better at home than they are away, OKC should take care of this team. That total is a little scary because it's low. It looks like everything is pointing towards the over. I was looking at trends for this game, and they look at pointing toward the over. However, I just like the side here. So I like OKC. However, it's still a lean. I'm going to stick with Jalen Williams 2 threes right now, and then I'll cap this game more. But I'm looking at OKC bouncing back. To me, even though I should take the numbers into effect here, Jimmy. But all in all, I just think that game against Milwaukee really has them fired up to come out and win against Orlando Magic. Even though it has nothing to do with the record, it just showed them, hey, we don't want to be looked at as pretenders. Let's get back on the ball. 3 days in Vegas, we probably partied. We did what we wanted to do. We didn't approach the game right. We got smacked. Let's get back on ball. OKC -6.5 to me looks like the side.
I can get you the over 1.5 threes -180 at 365. It's -191.
Yeah. So, it's still going to be free money. So, it's
We'll got juice.
It's juice, but I'll take that all day.
So my thought process behind the Thunder was they went out after the loss. Now I could be wrong. Yeah, that's my plan. They went out after the loss. That's because they're a young team and they're pissed off, and a lot of them probably were fighting going out, trying not to go out.
So what do you think they did after the win against a feisty Houston team in Vegas for 3 days?
Look, it's important angles, and it might be enough to keep me off, but in no way, shape, or form, and I could be so wrong here, but no way, shape, or form do I think this is a bounce back spot for the Thunder. I've almost never said that after a loss, especially a big loss by 20. That was a costly loss, a public embarrassing loss in Vegas. Now they have to go right back to work while everybody else was resting.
Yeah, but here's the thing also. They were in Vegas for 5 days probably? They got there a little early. Yeah, so you've already partied hard for almost a week in Vegas. You're not going to lose that game and say, hey, let's go party. A lot of these cats are probably ready to get home, man, to be honest with you.
Well,
that's just my thought about it.
They're not going home. They have to go back out on the road. And to Orlando in front of 14,000 people, 13,000 people. Is this I'm really interested in Orlando. I'm not going to move on it after the show because the public will come in and hammer Oklahoma City around 6:00 tonight. Nasty Nate says Thunder easy. Saturate said this is an under and the magic for me, and he loves OKC.
Away by 4.87, total 201 in this game.
It'd be a total 201. Wow,
that'll be a cover.
Oh yeah. All right, I'm interested in both the spots that Saturate's on. I'm going to study it a little bit longer here. We have Derl first official spot here. Jalen Williams over 1.5 threes -180. Let's roll on to the next spot on the board. 7 p.m. Eastern. Charlotte Hornets 7-19, 2-9 on the road. The Washington Wizards 3-21, 2-11 at home. We're at Capital One Arena, Washington D.C. Let's get into the line history here. We have this total sitting right now at 226. It's a pick'em. That's been all over the map. Opened up at 223.5, climbed all the way up to 227, before went back to 223.5, and then again all the way up to 226.5. Now it's at 226. So very, very strange market movements here on the total. On the side, the Wizards are plus 4.5 at -107. Opened up at 4. We have a half-point move towards the Hornets. When we get to the cash flow, can you believe that some asshole thought the right name for this team were the Bobcats? You're trying to sell jerseys here. Would the fucking Bobcats? Let's get into the cash flow here. 56% of tickets, 64% of cash on the Wizards, 77% of tickets, and 79% cash on the over. And let's get into the cash flow and then the X's and O's. I just did the cash flow, 64 and 77, 79 on the over. Okay, so here we go. Both teams 1-4 over the past 5 games, playing at a very different pace. Charlotte 22nd in the league, 98.6 possessions a game, 44.7 from the field and 31.4 from 3. Washington also shooting the ball poorly, 43.6 from the field and 32.1 from 3. Washington playing at the 4th fastest pace in the league, 104 possessions a game. They've been in the top 5 in pace all year long. These two teams have won twice combined in the last 31 games. Hornets have lost 10 of their last 11. They did get LaMelo back for that loss to the Sixers on Monday. He'd missed 7 games with a calf injury. It was their second straight loss, 121-108. Ball finished with 15 points and 11 assists in just 26 minutes. He'll get extended run today. 4th in the NBA, averaging 30.2 points per game. We should take a look at anything that concerns us. So everything we know what's up. Bay out, Kuzma out. The issue here, Trey Mann is out. Now, this isn't as big of a deal with ball back, but Brandon Miller, questionable. He left that Sixers game in the 4th quarter with a sprained right ankle. So no information from the shoot-around at this point for Brandon Miller here. Wizards coming off their 3rd straight loss, 112-98 at home versus the Celtics on Sunday. Ball 4th in the league at 30.2 points per game. Miller at 21.5 points per game, having a really strong year as well. Third straight loss for the Wizards, 112-98 home versus Celtics on Sunday. They've lost 19 of 20. They're on pace for 11 wins this year. Jordan Poole averaging 20.3 points per game. And Bilal Koulibaly, he's got 63 points in the last 3 games. Alex Sarr, the second overall pick in this year's draft, back-to-back games with 14 points. That's a little over his average. Washington still without Kuzma, hasn't played since Thanksgiving with the rib injury, giving up the most points a game in the league at 123. Charlotte only scores 106.7 points per game, last in the league in field goal percentage at 42.9. Washington last in the NBA in rebounding and second to last in three-point shooting at 31.4. The aforementioned Orlando Magic, the worst. Take it away for us here. Hornets, Wizards at Capital One, Derl.
My buddy sent me a text and said he is taking Mark Miller double-double for, I believe it's plus 500. They've just moved Miller in front of Richards.
Wow.
Played 17 minutes and expect to have him closer to starting minutes moving forward, and he's playing against the Wizards. That's injury-prone right now. Take that for what it's worth. He put $100 on Mark Miller's double-double. What do you see for that? What's the line you on that?
Are you talking Mark Williams?
Mark Williams. I'm sorry, I said Mark Miller.
Let's get that. Yeah, I mean, I had said Brandon Miller, so that was it. The double-double on Williams is I'll look at a different book. This is plus 450 here.
Yeah, that's actually, so he got it at 497 yesterday. I woke up this morning, saw it at 482, and now it's starting to go down, which is kind of crazy to me. I just want everyone to take a look at that. Take a look at Mark Williams and see how he plays today. So it was just a very random text that he had given me, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it is against the Wizards, so we'll see. At any rate, I say all that to say I'm not playing this game at all. There's no reason to play this game. Where I did used to play were Brandon Miller's props with his points. Brandon Miller has these days where he'll go off and make a lot of threes, and then he's kind of off when he's out partying. So it's kind of off and on. But I have no interest in playing the Wizards or Hornets. This game is going to probably steam way over, if you ask me. The first quarter total on that is 58 points. But I just have no interest in this game right now. Total 230, away by 6.41. Take it for what it's worth. I have no interest in this game.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I kind of have interest in the Hornets. You have Ball back, and then he gets the break. I guess we need to know what's going on with Miller, but I just I feel like the Wizards are mailing it in. We know that that's the case. Are the Hornets going to put out max effort here? I'm surprised that the Hornets aren't public, though. That the public actually likes the Wizards here at home is a surprise. 58% of tickets, 65% of cash. The line moving in the opposite direction here.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm going to study the Hornets a little more. I don't want to just move to them very easily here, but I have a lean towards the Hornets. Same with Kong's clips in the house. Viper says Battle of the Bums. Let's roll on to the next spot on the board here. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Chicago Bulls 12-15, 8-6 on the road. The Boston Celtics 21-5, 11-3 at home at TD Garden in Boston. Get into this line history here. We have Boston minus 14, minus 111. They opened up at 14.5. It's now 14. When I've suspected the Celtics will not cover a big spread at home, it's blown up in my face. 241 is the total. This has come down from 245.5. So a huge move towards the under. When we get to the cash flow here, we have 40% of the tickets, 41% of the cash on the Celtics, 28% of the tickets, and 34% cash on the under, and it's dropped so quickly. Drewski on the Wizards team total under 111.5, also on the Bulls plus 14. Saturated says too many for the Bulls, holding his nose and taking it. So Chicago 3-2 over the past 5, playing at the third fastest pace in the league, 105.4 possessions a game, 46.4 from the field, 36.6 from 3 over that stanza. Boston 4-1 playing at the 10th fastest pace, 101.6 possessions a game, shooting 45.4 from the field and 36.2 from three, worse than they've been shooting throughout the season. This is the first of a back-to-back. So these teams will face each other again Saturday in Chicago. So keep a very close eye on what happens here. Bulls coming off their second straight win, 122-121 at the Raptors on Monday. Giddey was set for a second triple-double of the year, and then he left with the right ankle injury. Straight to the locker room, didn't return. Same ankle he hurt during the Paris Olympics. Let's take a look at their thoughts here on them. Here they have Giddey as a game-time decision right now.
GTD, yeah.
Questionable, so didn't practice yesterday. That's all the information that we're getting right now. Big Dick Zingis has got the heel injury. He's questionable. He says it's fine. It's not a big deal, but doctors don't trust that man. Sam Hauser, also a game time decision as well. What was the? Sorry, I need to take one last look at the cash flow in my head here. So, 40 and 41 on the Celtics, and then public on the over and it dropping to the under. Heavy drop. So we have no Zach LaVine on Monday against Toronto. He's going to be back here tonight, and the Celtics coming off their second straight win, 112-98 at the Wizards on Sunday. Take it away for us here. Any interest in Bulls Celtics?
Yeah, so this one here is a prime example of when I look at the numbers, a scenario that I like to see. So this is the highest point total in the first quarter at 59.5, and it's like that for a reason, because these teams can get out and shoot. So on average right now, you have Boston that's second in the league, right under Cleveland at 31.2 points in the first quarter. And the reason why is because they shoot, obviously, a lot of threes. And it's, either they're going to come out really, really hot or a little flat. This type of game here, I think you're going to see a lot of shooting in the first quarter. As bad as Chicago is, and as huge as this line is, you would think that 5 is a lot of points in the first quarter for Boston to cover. And that is because Chicago's averaging just about 29 points in the first quarter. So it's a 3-point difference. The thing that I like about them also is that they're a little better away than they are at home when scoring in the first quarter. That's with Chicago. And Boston is a little better away than they are home as well, scoring in the first quarter. So in the first quarter, Boston scores about 29 at home. Away, they score 33. So it's a big, big difference. Now, there's a lot of different information that's missing there regarding of who they're playing and things of that nature. But all in all, I like this first quarter total over. I like it a lot. I believe this is going to hit 60 easily. I believe this will hit at the 60-point mark, if not 62 points. Boston is absolutely going to have at least 32 to 33 points in the first quarter, and Chicago shouldn't trail too much behind them. So give me the first quarter for this game, over 59.5 points. I would even take the Bulls at +5 in the first quarter. I just don't know if this could, to me, it could possibly also turn into one of those things to where, like the Clippers in Utah, where it was 44-20 in the first quarter. So it's one of those things to where I would rather just take the over here because I think it's a lot of points scored in the first quarter. Also, Boston being second in the league in first quarter scoring. Chicago's not too far behind. They're actually 13th in the league, but they're hitting that 29-point mark. But I do like Boston, Chicago, over 59.5 points in the first quarter.
You are locked and loaded. Moneyball giving us final score 122-118. Celtics says Bulls, but who likes stepping in front of Boston at home?
Yeah, it's terrible. I'll tell you this, though. The analytics website has this. Home by 15.65, total 237. So it's not getting to that 241.
Yeah, but the move, I can't. These totals get so tight. And if it's moved 4 points right now, that's just clearly it's a sharp action.
Mm-hmm.
Let's roll on here to Brooklyn Nets, Toronto Raptors, Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Dan Kelly says, just got here. We got screwed with that Schroeder trade. Says they can still get to 26 wins, but they really need the Nets to win tonight here. This is, every single team that has had their hands on Dennis Schroeder has just wanted to get rid of him as soon as possible. So
yeah, but Jimmy, you think he's the plug? You think he's the plug for Dr. Hans, that German doctor that does all this shady work, like the foot doctor? I think he's a plug, dude. I think that's the only reason why he's still around, because you got to go through Dennis to get to that doctor, that German doctor. There, I just think right now he's the plug.
He's just a problem, clearly, in the locker room, as Billy Schroeder is talking about. Viper loves it, though, and agreeing with you. I know he scores. He can play so well. I mean, he got Germany the World Cup. I mean, he can be elite, but there's obviously issues with him. Saturated on Barnes' points, rebounds, and assists.
Is he? So he's definitely playing.
He's supposed to. Let's get the final info here from Scotty Barnes, because Pirtle out, of course, quickly out, and yes, they expect him to be back here tonight, but it's not being confirmed. But they expect him to be out here. Let's go through the line history in this one and the cash flow, and then set it up for Derl. I got the first quarter total up, so let's move over to full game. Full game total here is a 219, slightly juiced to the over at minus 107. Opened up at 218, so we've gone up a point here in this one. On the spread, we have a Toronto -4 at minus 104. They opened up at 4.5, so we have a half-point move towards the Brooklyn Nets. Cash flow wise, only 32% of tickets and 29% of cash on the Nets, but the lines moved a half point towards them. 88 and 89 on the over. Saturated Pirtle will not be, maybe hot dogs, but he won't be eating anything else. Pirtle will not be in the lineup here. And for how long will Pirtle be out? He's going to be out a while here.
Is that good for Grady?
I don't know. I don't know. Grady's been getting his, and I don't think it matters. You can't ask Grady to do anything defensively except defend the perimeters. I don't think Pirtle in or out has anything to do will affect Grady's numbers here. It'll just affect the Raptors defense. Brooklyn 1-4 over their past 5, 99.8 possessions game, 18th in the association, 44.2 from the field and 38% from three. Now, maybe not having Schroeder will hurt that. Shout out to the Canadian capper in the house. Dan Kelly says, good for Grady's rebounds, says our guy, Dan Kelly. Drewski on the Raptors team total under 111.5. Toronto 0-5 over their past 5. The Nets have lost 3 in a row, 6 or 7. Raptors lost 5 straight. Played the 7th fastest pace in the league at 103.2 possessions a game, 44.1 from the field and 33.3 from three, shooting the ball very poorly. And here, if Barnes doesn't suit up, Satcher says, give me RJ's points, rebound, assists, or
PRA. Right.
The Nets coming up at Thursday, lost 131-1 at home to the Cavaliers on Monday. It was their first game without Schroeder, and 22 turnovers was the outcome. Raptors coming up their 5th straight loss, 122-121 at home versus the Bulls on Monday. Left groin strain for Pirtle. I don't know if they've quite said he's week to week, but I don't know how soon he'll be back. With Quickly and Barnes out, Barrett moved to the point guard position, 32 points and 9 assists on Monday. Grady Dick went for 27. Look, it's all fun and games with Barrett at point guard when the Raptors have the ball. It's that there's also a part of the basketball game when they don't have the ball, and watching him defend just makes me want to turn the game off.
Yeah.
Take it away for us here, Darryl. Nets Raptors.
No. I don't want to take it away. I don't. No. Not this one. No, Jimmy. No. I mean, I honestly, I just don't know how to gauge the Raptors. I don't. And I think obviously trading away Dennis Schroeder is telling me that you're making sure that you tank, right? You are trying to make sure that, okay, you guys are winning games now. Okay, we got to get rid of the plug, get him out of here. I don't know. I don't know how to cap the Raptors correctly. There were a couple of times where I had made money off of Grady. RJ Barrett is being wasted away over there right now, if you ask me. But Brooklyn is absolutely trying to tank. Now, we do know that, if I do recall, Toronto has always kind of kept a good fight in their games that they've been playing. And they've been able to cover the spread as far as when they're dogs. But I, I don't I don't have any input in this game at all. I don't. If you leave it up to me to try to just throw a coin flip and make a play, it would absolutely be Toronto, just primarily based upon what the Brooklyn Nets just did with giving away Schroeder. So yeah, I don't have any specific play that I like in this game. I don't like this game at all. I don't like either team.
I do not understand how the Raptors think they can beat anybody with Kelly Olynyk playing upwards of 25 minutes a game. He's been back for 4 games since the back injury. He's playing 15, 13 minutes a game. Now he's supposed to be the starting center. I mean,
Yeah.
Nick Claxton against Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk's just going to look like an ass clown out there. And then
I mean, what is the goal with Toronto? What exactly is the identity right now? Are you just waiting for everyone to be healthy?
We're just waiting for the Toronto tempo to start playing. We don't give this Raptors team makes us. It's part of like the numbers have been destroyed on TV. Like we don't. I don't. No one wants to watch.
Nobody wants to watch Toronto.
No,
absolutely not. Hell no.
But
Toronto doesn't even want to watch Toronto. What the fuck are we talking about?
In saying all that, I would like Scotty Barnes to be announced in, and I would like to back Brooklyn here.
Would you take Scotty Barnes points if he's in?
No, no, I do not want Scotty Barnes on his first game back. No, I don't see.
So, okay. Only because I might make a live play with you here now. I'm seeing Scotty Barnes points because he is up at 20.5. It's actually juiced to the under.
Yeah, because what's his minute? I mean, how much is he going to play? I don't know. It's not fun being a Raptors fan right now.
All right, move on, man. Not this game.
Well, as I will, I would like. No, we know that Scotty Barnes is going to play, but I still think I think the market will move slightly to the Raptors. I think the Nets are live.
Do they want to win a game? I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean,
the Jordy Fernandez does. The players do. It's just that the owners don't. The front office don't. So I don't know. I'm going to need more time here, but I think the Nets can make this a basketball game. I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, you want Olynyk, Oh God, I don't know. Okay.
Sports Analytics says 0.80 for the away team. Total is 228 for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested in the Brooklyn Nets here. Let's roll on. 8 p.m. Eastern with the New Orleans Pelicans 5-22, 1-13 on the road. Houston Rockets 17-9, 10-3 at home by the Toilet Center in Houston, Texas. We've heard from our guy LJ. He is on.
Yeah.
He's on the Rockets first half. Yeah. -4.5. Shout out to LJ from H-Town. Let's get into the line history. Drewski looking at the Pelicans +9.
Wow.
That's what we have, a +9. This opened up at 10. Opened up 10, got to 9.5, got to 9, got to 8.5 this morning. Yeah. Now it's back at 9. So we have a 1-point move towards the Pelicanos. On the total here, we have a 217.5 juice to the over. Open up at 219. We've dropped a 1.5 to 217.5. We get to the cash flow. We have just 27% of tickets and 19% of cash on the Pelicans, and yet the line's moving towards them. Suspicious. 86% of tickets and 82% cash on the over. Here we go. Pelicans 1-4 over the past 5, playing the 12th fastest pace in the league, 101.3 possessions a game, shooting the ball poorly, 45.3 from the field, below average, but not horrible, 34.3 from 3. Houston 2-3 over the past 5, playing second slowest pace in the league over that stanza, 95.6 possessions a game, 42.3 from the field, and just 29.3 from 3. They're shooting the ball very poorly. Pelicans coming off their 4th straight loss, 119-104 at the Pacers on Sunday. No Zion, no BI, and no Grand Theft. Let's take a look at the expectation here. All of them are out, including Dice. So Murray, McCollum, Murphy, Jones, and Missy is the starting 5 here. For these Rockets, Sengun is a game time decision here. Questionable due to left knee soreness, lingering left knee soreness. Now, he hasn't missed a game all year, so I don't think he misses this one. Then you have Steven Adams. He isn't playing much. He's listed as questionable. He suffered a sprained left ankle last week. So they're both questionable. And then Tari Eason here right now is questionable as well with the left lower leg injury management. So it's possible that he has the night off here for this one. Okay, so that's the injury issues here. Pelicans, as I said, coming off their fourth straight loss. Rockets have a 2-game winning streak, snapped a 111-96 loss at the Thunder, or not at Thunder, in Vegas, versus the Thunder on Saturday in the NBA Cup semifinals. They're tied with the Pelicans for third worst in the NBA in field goal percentage at 43.7. They are the third worst three-point shooting team in the NBA at 32.2%. And defensive rating, though, they're second only to the Thunder. Jalen Green, 19 points per game. Sengun, 18.6 and 10.6 boards. Take it away for us here. And we got daily doubles coming in from True Allah, 4th and 1 Entertainment. And he is on the Williams double-double that you spoke of off the top of the show here.
Really?
Our guy True Allah, 4th and 1 Entertainment. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Pelicanos, Rockets.
You ready for my analysis on this game?
Yeah.
You ready for this one?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this one? Shout out to LJ, man. Shout out to Houston native. Man, LJ is one hell of a dude. We posted up at Pubapalooza last year. It's a beautiful thing, man. He's not a homer when he says this at all. Okay? But just step on Houston Rockets first half minus 4.5. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
That is music to my ears. Having you back in business to us.
Yeah. It's kind of those if you know type deals. But this is absolutely cashing. Taking Houston Rockets first half. How they finish the game is a lot different than how they start the game. They're actually about 4 points more, score 4 points more than New Orleans here in this case here. They're in the middle of the pack here as far as scoring. You just take that bet and then you go to bed. You bet the farm on that bet and then you go to bed, really, because this one's going to cash. It's going to cash more often than not. Houston Rockets first half is a great play. There is another play from another Houston native that I know plays a lot that I've seen. Take Jabari Smith over 1.5 threes. This is also juiced. So if you would like, and if I could do that, I'll do that here also. Parlay Jabari Smith. I'm about to do this now because I've already played Jabari. But parlay Jabari Smith and parlay I'll do that right now.
What is the parlay?
Jabari Smith and Jalen Williams over 1.5 threes. Jabari Smith and Jalen Williams over 1.5 threes. One more time. Jabari Smith and Jalen Williams over 1.5 threes. What I have on that right now is plus 143 with my local.
So that's Smith over 1.5 threes and
Jalen Williams over 1.5 threes. So what you can do is just play a small amount as far as half a unit or whatever on the individual props. Jalen Williams over 1.5 threes is an official play. Jabari Smith over 1.5 threes is an official play. Then break up that, play like a quarter unit or something on that parlay. We're not going all out here. We're just getting even money. Or even better than even money at plus 143. Both of those players should hit. Jalen Williams should hit his threes a lot sooner in the game than Jabari Smith will hit his threes. But either way, I just think those are really two good looks.
What did you get on Jabari Smith alone?
Minus 176.
And that will be an official pick as well. Plus
official pick as well. Plus the parlay.
You are locked in. Dan, I was thinking about that. Udoka Ime is plus 300. He's the only other choice at this point.
For Coach of the Year?
Yes, Dan Kelly gave it to us.
That's awesome.
Coach of the Year, awesome. 20-1.
I would be interested to know. Okay, so now this is another reason why I played those plays. Because we're looking at, Daignault coaching and Ime Udoka coaching. I do believe that loss really hit the Rockets probably, maybe hard, if not, they probably felt that was, how can I word this? This loss, to me, in my opinion, and the way that team is built right now, was just as hard as OKC losing the finals in the Cup. So Ime is going to have his team coached up pretty well. These guys are ballers. Now, I would love to see Alperen Sengun in there. His lines aren't up, so maybe that's getting closer to doubtful. I don't see his lines because Alperen's he's going to get you some rebounds. He's going to get you some points. He's a walking double-double in his own right. But I still do believe New Orleans Pelicans, man, is absolute joke right now. And now you don't have Ingram for quite some time. So you have no bigs in there whatsoever that's going to make a difference, right? And so I just do believe the way Houston plays after coming off that loss, this one here is going to be a rout. I do believe Houston can easily beat these boys by double digits just in the condition Houston's in, but I like that first half.
Well, you were locked in. First half -5, -110. Jabari Smith over 1.5 threes, -176. And then Jabari Smith, Jalen Williams parlay at plus 143. I have some interest in the Pelicanos +9. I think the market's telling us that Sengun might not be in.
Yeah. You're seeing that with that number going down. You're absolutely right. And he hasn't missed the game.
Yeah, public on the Rockets. So I'm going to need more time here. Saturated liking the under. Drewski on the Rockets team total under. Moneyball giving us final score 111.5, 106.5. I'm interested in the Pelicanos. Again, I don't know. I'm not certain I get there. Let's roll on. 8 p.m. Eastern. The Golden State Warriors 14-11, 7-6 on the road. Memphis Grizzlies 18-9, 12-3 at home at FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. Let's go right to the latest injury news. Schroeder here could be here.
I think you think he's going to play?
I don't know. I'm trying to get that information. I mean, he was ruled out on Sunday. I don't know. I wonder if anybody in the chat could dive in and find that out. Ja is dealing with the lower back soreness, so he's listed as questionable in this one. Marcus Smart, also a game time decision here. Smart is doubtful, so Smart's going to be out. The question is, will Ja be in? Will Schroeder be in? If anybody knows here in the chat, let us know. Let's go into the line history and the cash flow here for this one. Line history wise, we have these. The total at 236.5 is juiced to the over at -108. This opened up at 236.5. It got up to 238. Then it dropped to 235.5. So we're right back from whence. Let's get to the point spread here. We have Memphis right now at -2.5 with no vig. They opened up -3.5, got up to -4, went down to 3, back to 4. Then they go all the way down to 2. So we have a 1-point move towards these Golden State Warriors. When we get to the cash flow, Christian Rivas in the house. Great to see you, Christian, my man. We get to the cash flow, 58% of tickets, 62% of cash on the Warriors. So, it's not a huge public spot. The line moving towards them. Just 19% of tickets and 36% of cash on the under. So interesting situation here. Golden State Warriors playing at the 4th slowest pace in the NBA over the last 5 games, 27th in the league. They've gone 2-3 over that time frame. 44% from the field and 37.5 from 3. Memphis 4-1 over their past 5, playing at the fastest pace in the league, 107.9 possessions a game, 48.3 from the field and 39.9 from three. Warriors coming off their second straight loss, third in 4 games, 143-133 at home versus Mavericks on Sunday. We have Schroeder here, expected to be coming in off the bench. Started all 23 games for the Nets this year, 18.4, 6.6 assists. Grizzlies had their 4-game winning streak snapped in a 116-110 loss at the Lakers on Sunday. We're expecting Zach Edey going to be back in the lineup here. He went for 13 and 10 in 24 minutes against the Lakers. That was his first game since November 17th against Denver. And we have the top benches in the league. Memphis getting 48.2 points per game from their bench. Golden State getting 46.6. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Warriors, Grizzlies, FedEx Forum, Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to look at is an official play on Desmond Bane and his points. Give me Desmond Bane's points for 16.5. I just do believe that was just a really bad off shooting night against the Lakers. I don't think you're going to see that again. With Ja out and with potentially out, right? And with Marcus Smart being out, I just do believe this is a spot for Bane to score and to make points. They are on a 7-home game win streak. So they should get up at home. And if you have these key players out, I do believe this is a spot for Bane to shine. So I like the points. Desmond Bane at 16.5 points. That's an official play for me. I just do believe it's a bounce back spot from the Lakers. Maybe they was partying out there in LA, man. I don't know. It was just, when I watched that game, they just couldn't make shit. Nothing fell whatsoever. AD had a game. And usually the Grizzlies do get up against the Lakers, or at least try to make it a little more, I guess, personal, if you will. So this one here, those Lakers and Grizzlies absolutely don't like each other. And, Ja being the big, the loud voice, the boisterous voice as is, he's going to try to play his heart out. And I didn't see it that game. They got smacked by the Lakers. And so I do believe it's a bounce back game for Memphis. They're going to come out and play a lot better at home. And I do believe you see some shots being made by Bane. So give me Desmond Bane official play over 16.5 points.
Let me see if I can quickly beat that spot here. Let's move over. So what was the juice on your 16.5?
I got minus 118.
We got minus 111 here, so we'll use that. Over 16.5 points, minus 111 available offshore. Drewski on both teams, team total unders here. Drewski says Warriors match up well with the Grizz. Watch out. This is a dangerous spot, with both teams coming off of losses, both teams not liking each other. The line moving slightly towards the Warriors. At this point, I don't feel like I've got an angle I can trust. Darryl's moved on Desmond Bane over 16.5 points, minus 111. Let's roll on. Next up,
I was just going to also say, kind of watch out. I don't know if that was a fluke or not, but last game, man, Dre had 5 threes. Dre was 5 for 9 from the 3-point line. I'm like, come on, man. What are we doing? What are we doing, man? But just that was a crazy stat when I saw it. I was like, imagine if somebody would have played Dre at 4.5 threes or to make 5 threes. Just crazy. But
yeah, he's going to have his hands full with Dennis Schroeder. 8 p.m. Eastern, Atlanta Hawks 14-13, 7-7 on the road. San Antonio Spurs 13-13, 9-7 home. Frostbank Center in San Antonio, Texas. Pubapalooza coming up here in a few short months. And on the Friday night of the poker tournament, Spurs Sixers Friday night at Frostbank Center. So if you don't want to be in the poker tournament, you go to the basketball game and just join us at the bar late. The poker tournament is going to be extremely, extremely enjoyable. I'm going from Wednesday to Monday, and we'll have my.
I'll be there.
Oh, you're coming nice, Darryl.
Absolutely,
nice.
man. Absolutely. Nice. I was talking to LJ about it. I was actually talking to the wife about it too. So yeah, I'll be there. Absolutely. But I'm not playing no damn poker. Hopefully, I've never seen Embiid live. I've never seen him play games. So I would love to see. There's kind of some bucket list players that I have. Embiid is one of them. So we'll see how he's feeling in March. But yeah, I will be there.
Oh man, sounds like whether or not fentanyl is going to be in there. Who knows if he's going to be live at the game? You can't trust Embiid to be in the lineup. You can't trust anything to not have fentanyl in it. I think that maybe is his new nickname. Let's roll on Hawks Spurs. Atlanta 3-2 over the past 5, playing the 5th fastest pace in the league, 103.74 possessions a game, 43.8% from the field, 32.3 from 3. The Spurs 2-3 over the past 5, 11th fastest pace in the league, 101.4 possessions a game, 45.3 from the field, and 32.2 from 3. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We will start with the total for Hawks Spurs. Actually, start with the spread. Excuse me. We have these Spurs right now -1.5. They opened up at +1, now -1.5. A move toward that was my first thought was the Spurs, but I wanted to talk it all out here. This total is at 234. It's juiced to the under. Opening up at 234.5, dropping down to 233, up to 234. A half-point move towards the under. Let's get the cash flow here for this one. We have 75% of the tickets, 71% of cash on the Hawks on the spread. On the money lines, 46% of tickets and 64% of the cash on the Hawks.
And the line goes the other way.
Yeah. 76% tickets, 75% cash on the over. Hawks coming off losing to Milwaukee in the semifinals, 110-102 Saturday night in Vegas. Trae Young, 35 and 10, 3 rebounds short of the triple-double. Spurs had their 2-game winning streak snapped on 106-92 loss at home to the Timberwolves on Sunday. Wemby needed the break, dealing with the back, sore back, 20 points, 12 boards. Mitch Johnson, 11 and 10 under Mitch Johnson right now. And now the Spurs, after this, will play 9 of their next 11 games on the road. So keep an eye on that. LJ from H-Town in the house says trend is the Spurs 12-4 against spread, third quarter at home, number 1 in the NBA. I am very interested in the Spurs. Take it away for us, Darryl. Hawks Spurs.
Yeah, I don't have a play on this game at all. What I have been playing, and it's kind of been a hit or miss, but I was getting him when he was on a good run before the books suggested were, of course, Trae Young's assists. He's just been a dime machine right now this year, which is kind of really weird to see, but he's been okay. They have beaten some good teams also. And it's the Spurs. I've been playing a lot of Victor Wembanyama's threes, and he's been hitting those also. So as far as a side, I personally think I don't know why this number flipped the way it did, but I personally think the Hawks is the side here. Last 5 games, Hawks have played Milwaukee, which was the semis to the Cup. They beat New York at New York in the Garden. So you know how Trae plays at the Garden. They lost to Denver, beat LA, and beat Milwaukee. And we're just talking about a couple of wins from Portland and New Orleans, but you lost to Minnesota, and you lost to Sacramento, and you lost to the Bulls in what the San Antonio Spurs have done in the last 5 here. Why are they favorites? Why? I don't get it.
The Hawks just played all these very important basketball games. Now they have to go back to playing a game that's meaningless.
Right, but they've still played better teams. And I just feel that if everybody's going to zig, I would zag here. I don't understand the line movement at all. It's nothing really important to the injury news on Atlanta's end or San Antonio's end.
Keldon Johnson is in. That's helpful. But
yeah, I don't get it. I just don't get it here. So it's just a no play for me here. But if I had to look at it, and I'm going to look at this some more, but I'm just really I like the Hawks here. I like the Hawks.
I question these teams. Saturated agreeing. I question these teams going into a kind of a boring situation after they played such important basketball. I'm going to be on the Spurs tonight. Let's move on. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. LA Clippers 15-12, 5-6 on the road. Dallas Mavericks 17-9, 8-3 at home. American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. These teams don't like each other. I mean, we talked about the Warriors, Grizzlies. Mavs took the Clippers out in 6 games in the first round last season. These teams do not like each other. Let's get into the line history here and also go over the injury report. The injury report is tricky. Luka out. And then Kyrie is questionable. Was a full participant Wednesday practice. He's in. He's in. He's got to be in here, unless there's something I don't know about that happened after the practice, but he's in. Luka has been ruled out with the left heel injury. So Luka out, Kyrie in. On the other side of things, Kawhi, Man, and Tucker all out for the Clippers. From a total standpoint here, we have that's the wrong book. We have a 223 at minus 112. This opened up at 228. Dropped 5 points. Luka probably a big part of that. On the spread here, we have a -4 for these Mavericks. It is juiced to them. This opened up at 6.5. Opened up at 6, got to 6.5, and then dropped down to 4. So a 2.5 point move towards the Clips. When we get to the cash flow here, just 24% of tickets and 27% of cash on the Clips. 85 and 71 on the over. Clippers 2-3 over the past 5, playing 17th fastest pace in the league, 99.6 possessions a game, shooting the ball well, 47.8 from the field and 39.8 from 3. Dallas 4-1 over their past 5, 6th fastest pace in the league, 103.6 possessions a game, 51.4 from the field and 44.8 from 3. Clippers snapped their 3-game losing streak in an emphatic 144-107 win at home over the Jazz on Monday. Harden went for 41. Mavericks bounced back from their 108-104 loss to Oklahoma City by defeating the Warriors 143-133 in San Francisco on Sunday. Luka, third triple-double of the season, 45 points, 13 assists, 11 boards. Clay goes for 29. Kyrie goes for 21. 12 and 2 over the last 14, and a lot of love for Derek Lively from Jason Kidd. Loving what he's seeing from the second-year center here. 8.7 points, 7.7 boards, 1.6 blocks a game. Shout out to Amalie Mal in the house. Darryl, take it away. Clippers, Mavericks.
Yeah, what's the news on Daniel Gafford? Is he out?
Let me.
Do you see that at all?
Yeah, no, he's good to go.
Okay. What I have been playing also on this team is Gafford and Lively's points. I have played that. I haven't made a move on anything on this game yet. I'm going to wait a little bit. It seems like the obvious play would be Kyrie points or Kyrie PRA. It seems like whenever Luke is out, then that's how you play it. But for right now, I don't have a play in this game. My lean on this would be Gafford and Lively's points. Lively's points is at 8.5. Usually Gafford's points are about 10.5, and Gafford usually hits first. So I'm going to do a little bit more studying on this game, but I don't have an official play. I'm just telling you what I've generally played on this game, and that is Gafford and Lively points. Looking at the sports analytic website, home by 6.53, total 211.
I'm concerned about the possibility of the Mavericks stepping up without Luka being, more than the sum of their parts in this one, and the Clippers coming off a phenomenal game of Harden playing phenomenally well. It all concerns me here. I'm going to be off of this spot here. Let's roll on. Next up for us, 9 p.m. Eastern, we have the Indiana Pacers, 12-15, 14-11 on the road at the Phoenix Suns, 14-11, 9-4 at home. We're at the Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Indiana 3-2 over the past 5, playing at the 14th fastest pace in the league, 100.5 possessions a game, 50.8% from the field, and 38.9% from 3. Phoenix 2-3 over the past 5, playing at the 24th fastest pace, 98.2 possessions a game, 48.6 from the field, and 41.9% from 3. Let's get into the line history here for Pacers Suns. We have the Suns -6 at -110. They open up -6.5. A half-point move sure towards the Pacers, but it's juice. You get the +6 with no vig for Indiana, so let's say it's moved a quarter of a point. On the total here for this one, we have a 235, slightly juiced to the under. This opened up at 235, but this went up all the way up to 237 before it dropped to 234.5 at 5:42 a.m., dropping down to 233 before we had the buyback up to 235. So we're right back where we started. So then we'll go to the cash flow here. Cash flow wise, we have 58% of the tickets, 55% cash on the Pacers, 76 and 78 on the over. Pacers coming off their second straight win in third and 4 games, 119-104 at home versus the Pelicans on Sunday. Spicy P 22, Halliburton 21 and 10. Are these guys going to start playing better basketball? Because they've been horrific. 12 and 15, 4 and 11 on the road. Suns coming off their second straight win, 160-109 at home over the Blazers on Sunday. Booker goes for 28. Tyus Jones, 19, 8 of 9 shooting while starting in place of Bradley Beal, dealing with the knee injury. 16.8 points per game, 56.3 from the field in December. Let's take a look at the expectations here. We have Bradley Beal back in. So Jones, Booker, Beal, Durant, Nurkic. Then Naismith's still out for the Pacers, but Shepherd is listed as questionable. We haven't seen him since November 17th with the strained left oblique. But he's going to be under a minutes restriction and all that, but could be getting Shepherd back as well. Take it away for us here, Pacers, Suns.
Yeah, I don't know how to gauge the Pacers. Pacers absolutely suck. They do. And this was the same team that went to the finals on the Emirates Cup last year against the Lakers and lost, and then went very deep into the playoffs last year. And then they're completely ass this year. I don't know. I don't have any interest in this game at all. One thing I was playing at some point, it kind of died off, but I was playing Devin Booker threes. But as far as taking Phoenix right now, I don't know how to gauge Phoenix either, because they're losing games that they should be winning. So what did it for me pretty much was Phoenix just barely beating Portland and New Orleans. Right? These are games that they should just be blowing people out, but they beat, what was the score? Yeah, Portland 116-109, and New Orleans 126-124. Like, I mean, what are we doing? They lost that game. They lost against Orlando. They lost to Miami, but you beat Utah 134-126, and then you beat Portland 116-109. It's just, I can't gauge this team at all. So, I mean, you're not fully healthy with Bradley Beal. Not, this injury, his knee is not good at all. But you still have KD, you still have Book, and I mean, come on, what are we doing? What are we doing? So I don't know how to gauge this team. Pacers are absolutely ass. Phoenix Suns, I don't know how to gauge them right now. No play for me whatsoever in this game.
I want to be ahead of the market when the Pacers start playing good basketball again. Now, we watched them lose to Charlotte 113-109, 11 days ago, but they're rested, they're healthy, they're deep, they're fast. They went into Philadelphia, beat them by 14, barely got past the Pelicans. Oh, no, beat them by 15 one time. I thought it said 119-114. I have some interest in him, in them here. I do. I'm not sure if I get to the window, but I'm going to keep an eye on the Pacers here, plus the points. I think they can stay in this basketball game. They're playing their best basketball of the season. Yeah, so I definitely have interest there. We have 3 games left on today's show. Don't forget, Capper's contest is in 41 minutes right here on Pub Sports Radio. The next spot for us happens to be the Stacks play of the day. Shout out to our guy, Justin McKelvey. Stacks play today is the under in Knicks Timberwolves. The first time these teams have met since the big trade in the offseason.
Stacks, 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 stacks.
Saturated says 5-0, or Jimmy's going to leave us for another woman. Yes, I'm going to leave us for several women. That's what if we don't go 5-0, it's a must 5-0, 4-1, 5-0, or it's all over. But we did have a 3-2 week, and we are in the top 1,000, so it's not impossible for us to heat up here. Let's go Knicks Timberwolves. We also have BJ's NBA best bet, Minnesota Timberwolves money line. Dan Kelly says Julius and Kat want to show out here.
I bet.
All right, well,
I'll let you set it up. Let's talk this one out, though, because I like this game.
10 are the Knicks. 16-10 are the Knickerbockers. 8-6 on the road. Timberwolves 14-11, 8-4 at home. We're the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's get into the line history here. This is a fun basketball game. 215 now. It is juiced to the under. This opened up at 213.5, climbed up to 215.5 last night, then started dropping, then came back up this morning. Now sitting at 215. So we have a 1.5 move towards the over. Let's get to the spread here in this one. We have Minnesota -3 minus 104. Opened up at -2, now -3. We have a 1-point move towards the Timberwolves. Let's get to the cash flow here. From a cash flow perspective, we have 49% of tickets, 41% of the cash on the Knicks. 49, 41, 51, and 59 on the Timberwolves, a 1-point move towards them. 90% of tickets and 88% of cash on the over. Knicks 3-2 over the past 5. 28th fastest pace in the league, 96.7 possessions a game. 49.4 from the field and 38.7 from 3. Minnesota 4-1, 98.80 possessions a game. 21st in the league. And they're not shooting the ball well at all of late. 43.7 from the field and 35.9 from 3. Now, Cat returns to Minneapolis for the first time. Of course, he played 9 seasons there. Started 573 games, 22.9 points per game, 10.8 rebounds a game. And he comes back to the North Star State. The package that they received for him, Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and
get it right.
25 first-round pick. Let's take a look at the injuries. Slow-mo Joe out for Minnesota, and Robinson, of course, out for the Knicks. And Josh Hart is a game-time decision due to personal reasons. He's not missed a game this year. Was a late addition to the injury report on Thursday. Important to keep an eye on the Josh Hart situation. We have in Towns, 24.8 points and 13.9 boards a game for the Knicks. Knicks coming off their second win in 3 games, 191 at Orlando on Sunday, 11th win in 15 games. Timberwolves coming off their second straight win in 6 in 7 games, 106-92 at the Spurs. Ant, 26.2 points per game. Randall, 20.1 points per game. Rudy averaging the double, and said very nice things about Karl Anthony Towns, something I've almost never done in my life. Never said a nice thing about him. Take it away for us here, Derl. Knicks, Timberwolves.
Okay, let's take away trends. Let's take away numbers. Let's just talk about narrative here. Okay? Let's just talk specifically about narrative, and let's go to what has happened, the events that's led up to this game. Now, this is not It's not rocket science here. But first off, let me just tell you, the play is the Knicks plus 2.5. Knicks plus 2.5. I'm all on that right now. I think that line was actually 2, and then more is you've got a hooker now on
You got
Minnesota.
3 now.
Yeah. First off, let me play it. So I'm playing that. The second thing I'm going to play is Karl Anthony Towns boards at 13.5. Karl Anthony Towns boards at 13.5. I'm seeing a minus 118 to the over. But let's look at some things here. When this trade happened, I don't think anyone was more shocked besides maybe Randall and, more importantly, Karl Anthony Towns. The reason why is if you remember the interview that Karl Anthony Towns had, he was talking about willing to take less money on a deal to keep that team together. That was the first thing. He had really liked the chemistry there. And as quiet as kept, man, I'm telling you right now, Towns and Edwards are like this. The boys are tight. Okay, they're absolutely tight. They are brothers. Minnesota went on a little losing stretch here to where they just could not get it together. Their shooting wasn't good. And of course, if you want to know the honest truth, you put a mic in front of Ant-Man. You put a mic in front of Ant Edwards. And he began to start to talk in code at these kind of pressers that he was doing after the game. And he was talking about we're not doing well. We're just doing whatever we want. The coach is telling us to do something and we're doing something else. It's like we have our own agenda. He said that. What he was doing was he was talking about a specific player that wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. So coach calls a play. They go to try to execute that play, and it's not executed correctly because there were specific players or one specific player who was doing his own thing. One player who actually did not really want to be in Minnesota, who was also surprised he was leaving New York, but it is what it is. That player was obviously, who do you think, Jimmy?
Rudy.
No, Julius Randle. Julius Randle was the player that Ant-Man was talking about, to where it seems like he has his own agenda and it feels like he is not. They are literally running a different play than what the coach is calling. Now, go back a little further. If you remember the interview that Julius Randle's wife had talking about the move from New York to Minnesota, he was kind of surprised of it, but he did not want to be there. And his wife talked about specifically the troubles of being grounded somewhere in New York and having to pick up their family and go and move to Minnesota, try to find schools for their sons, things of that nature. And they both did not want to do that. They talked about how hard it was for them emotionally to do that, and how Julius made her do the bulk of the work. And her being a basketball wife, she understood her assignment and she went on ahead and did it. All in all, what you have to understand is this game means more to Karl Anthony Towns than it does Julius Randle. Julius does not really care to be in Minnesota. And if you remember, Julius was kind of on eggshells and kind of on bad terms with the Knicks and that fan base. Remember, he was the same one who had to come back and apologize for saying, what was it, fuck you, or throwing a middle finger to the fan base because they were booing him for how he was playing. So he had been disconnected from that fan base. The fan base didn't really care for him. He didn't mind if he had to leave the Knicks, but he didn't want to go to Minnesota. However, Cat wanted to stay in Minnesota with his brother. And now he is having probably one of the greatest seasons that he's had under Thibodeau, playing for the New York Knicks. You better believe Cat is coming out to Minnesota to ball. Best believe it. He will have a game. And I do believe this is going to be a spot where the Knicks are going to rally around Cat. Dante DiVincenzo was mad in his own right, but it was more of the coaching staff. If you remember, they had played earlier. It might have been a preseason game or another game early on in the season where Dante was talking head to the coaching staff. Come to find out, I believe it was Brunson's dad he was talking to and Thibodeau all together over some bullshit about how they did some shady shit all together. I don't care. This is a Cat spot. Cat boards at 13.5. Give me New York Knicks plus 2.5. They're going to win this game outright. I do believe they are going to smack the Timberwolves today.
Wow. And Drewski saying he doesn't know why the Wolves are favored. You are locked in. You are going up against DC Capper. You're going up against BJ. You're going up against some great Cappers. We're going to give you the +3 at -108 here for record-keeping purposes. It's available at the 3 market wide. And the over 13.5 rebounds, we can get you a -105 offshore. And again, Stacks play today is the under 214. We got 2 games left here on the board. None as exciting as that one, but we do have Lakers
watch
games
that game
at the end. Let's roll into the next spot on the board. Denver Nuggets 14-10, 7-6 on the road. The Portland Trailblazers 8-18, 5-7 home at Moda Center in Portland, Oregon. Denver 3-2 over their past 5 games, playing at the second fastest pace in the league. I've never seen a Jokic team play this fast, but obviously there's an old point guard back there, not Jamal Murray, who is pushing the pace here. Jamal Murray playing better basketball as well, but Westbrook changing the pace of this team. 52.5 from the field, just 32.3 from 3. They're not shooting the ball well from 3. Maybe that's another Westbrook issue as well, but I'm sure he's not taking too many. Portland 0-5 over their past 5, 97.70 possessions game. That's 25th fastest in the league, 45.3% from the field, and 31.7% from 3. Let's get into line history here. We have these Denver Nuggets 8.5 at -105. Opened up 8.5 at -110. Got up to, it went down to 8 around 2 in the morning. Around 9 in the morning, got back up to 9. Now we're at 8.5. Now we've just had a 5-cent move towards the Trailblazers. When we get to the total here in this one, we have a 235.5 juice to the under. This has come all the way up from 232. It did get up to 236.5. So it was at 236.5 at 8 this morning. We have Brown out, Christian Brown. Well, his game time decision here is listed as questionable.
Yes, he's back.
Yeah, he may miss his second straight game, which would see Or Rusty Westbrook running the
yeah.
show. For on the other side of things, DeAndre Ayton is questionable. He's been sick. There's only a couple guys like this. They get sick, and who knows how many weeks they're going to be out. Ayton is in risk of missing his third straight game. He was in Tuesday's practice. It's Thursday, but leave it to DeAndre Ayton to show up late for games, get lost, be sick for a week and a half. Good God.
He's from Arizona. He's from Arizona. What do you think?
If I had to cheer for that guy, it would drive me absolutely mad.
Shout out to all my Arizonians.
Let's get into the cash flow then for this one. 82% of tickets, 73% of cash on the Denver Nuggets. Line not moving towards them. 78 and 77 on the over. So you have Jokic. You would like to have Ayton. You expect to have Ayton. You're going to have Klingon. Klingon, started in Ayton's place in that 116-109 loss to the Suns on Sunday. He's playing well. Klingon will help defend Jokic, but you need a lot of help. Ayton hopefully will be there. Nuggets coming off their third straight win, 130-129 at Sacramento on Monday. Jamal Murray, 15 of his team high 28 in the fourth quarter. Nice to see him looking better. Jokic 20-14 and 13, 10th triple-double of the season. And Russell Westbrook was 1 rebound shy of his 201st triple-double. And the Blazers coming off their 6th straight loss, 116-109 at the Suns on Sunday. I think that the Pistons that the Blazers can be in this basketball game. The public's all over the Nuggets. The line's not moving further towards the Nuggets. This is one of those spots where that the public is going to hammer the Nuggets at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm interested in the Blazers here. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Nuggets, Blazers.
Yeah, okay. This is one of those things where I look at where it's just a huge disparity here, guys. So, Portland, last in the league, last in the league in first quarter scoring. They're last in the league. They're 30th. They average 23.6 points a game. Over their last 3, they've averaged 24.7. Last game, 21. When they are at home, they give you 23 points per game. When they are away, they give you 23 points per game on the first quarter. Denver, 5th in the league. 5th in the league at 30.1 points per game in the first quarter. Last 3 games, 36 points. Last 1 game, 41 points. When they are away, 29.7 points. I can only look at Denver first quarter right now. It's at -2.5. There is no way they don't hit this number. Denver first quarter -2.5. I just look at the point disparity. I don't care, trends and things like that, those do matter, but results are what makes the trends. So this one here, because of how Portland plays and how bad they are and what their average is saying, that's the output. That's what they give you. They're going to give you 23 points in the first quarter. They absolutely suck. Denver is top 5. And so when you have a spread at 8.5, this short, and all you have to do is win by 3 in the first quarter, when you have a point disparity of almost 8 points, you've got to jump on that. Give me Denver -2.5 first quarter. That's easy money to me. That's going to be an easy cash.
Darryl on the Nuggets first quarter -2.5, available right now at -107. Let's get into our final spot on the board. 10 p.m. Eastern. LA Lakers 14-12, 5-9 on the road. Sacramento Kings 13-14, 6-8 at home at Golden One Center, Sacramento, California. Let's take a look at the injury situation. Of course, LeBron James is a game time decision, questionable due to left foot injury.
Dr. Hans Mueller. I'm sorry. I'm trying to give you my German accent.
You're on your way. You're on your way. Just a little more work.
Just a little more work. Just a little more.
James missed 2 games with left foot soreness. Returned for the 161-10 win over the Grizzlies on Sunday. Went 18-8-8. Get used to him being questionable. He should play.
He's going to play.
Then we have his game time decision dance partner, Anthony Davis. He's listed as probable, so the Brow will be in. We have a ton of game time decisions on the other side. Sabonis is listed as questionable due to a back contusion. Didn't practice Wednesday. Be dealing with the back bruise. So Sabonis is a game time decision. We have Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray will play. He will be in the lineup. He's listed as questionable, but he'll be in the lineup tonight. Then we have Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter is questionable. So it was limited during practice with the shoulder injury. So of all of these guys, I think that we can expect them all to play, but keep an eye on it. Let's go into the spread here, the full game spread on the Lakers. They are +5 at -106. They opened up +4.5. There's been a half-point move towards the Sacramento Kings. It keeps bouncing from the 5 to the 4.5. Then on the total here, we have a 228 at a pick'em. This opened up at 232, dropped 4 points to 228. When we get to the cash flow, we have a 50-50 proposition. Lakers have 52% of the tickets, 52% of the cash. On the total, though, 82% of tickets, 80% cash on the over, and we've dropped 4 points. The Lakers playing at 13th fastest pace, 101.29 possessions a game, 2 and 3 over their past 5. 45.2 from the field, just 33.8 from 3. Sacramento 3 and 2, playing at 7th fastest pace, 103.2 possessions a game, 48.3 from the field, 37.6 from 3. Lakers coming off their second win in 3 games, 116-110 at home over the Grizzlies on Sunday. We talked about James' contribution already, and 2 weeks away from turning 40. Kings had their 3-game winning streak snapped, a 131-29 loss at home to the Nuggets on Monday. McBucket scored 16 points. Keegan Murray was out with the sore left ankle. We know Keegan Murray is going to be back here. Take it away for us, Darryl. Our last game on the board, 13 games to welcome you back to the show. You crushed it, and it's great having you back. Take it away, Lakers Kings.
I don't want to take it away. Isn't that surprising being a Laker game? I don't want to take it away. I don't. But I am going to give you this. I'll make it official because I played it. This will be, I guess, more of a personal play. Again, it's going to give you positive money. But this is something that I did play, and I didn't say this with the other games that we've discussed, only because I didn't single bet it. But I did play a parlay. That parlay would be Ivica Zubac double-double, -141. Karl Anthony Towns double-double, -667. Anthony Davis double-double, -400. And I got +129 on that. I just think
Zubac double-double, Cat double-double, AD double-double at +129. Continue.
Yeah. So with me, if you've looked at the games, 10 and 10 is light work for these guys. Cat is giving you 10 rebounds in the first quarter, 13 rebounds in the first half easily. Zubac, same deal here. And with Davis, especially if Domas doesn't play, that's light work for him. That's one thing. Secondly, even if Domas does plays and he's not 100%, that's light work for AD. So these double-doubles here, it's the reason why they're juiced the way they are. The reason why you can't single bet those, because it is a lot of fucking money to play in order to get some type of positive result here. So with me, I decided to take those 3 that I know that I do believe will hit. Karl Anthony Towns, if you do the math, he's giving you a double-double just about every damn game. AD would have to have an off game as far as rebounds to not get a double-double, because he's going to at least give you 20 points. So yeah, with me at this point right now, Ivica Zubac that guy's a money printing machine when it comes to double-doubles. But Ivica Zubac, Karl Anthony Towns, AD, all double-double parlay, +129. I do like that. It's more of a personal play. I only played just a small unit amount, like a quarter of a unit, so it's not anything big. But yeah, I'm going that route there today.
You are locked in. DC on the under 227, and a half. Dan Kelly.
What did Dan say?
Dan said
I don't
that
have. I don't have my my chat up. I can't.
Dan has a prediction that if LeBron plays, he will set the record for most points scored in a career. Dan's prediction. He said that he went to a game where Nolan Ryan was pitching late in his career, and every time he had a strikeout, he'd stand up and yell, "You just saw the record set for most strikeouts in a career."
That's also funny shit.
Our guy, Dan Kelly in the house.
I love.
Derl, you are the man. It's great to have you back rolling with us. Let's review action from Derl. He's on Sexton over 1.5. Oh, no, those were leans.
These are leans here. Yeah. No.
Leans.
Yeah. I'll do my due diligence and let you know before the games tip off, but that's more of a lean for me.
Dan Kelly wants me to let you know that that Ayton is Bahamian. He's from the Bahamas.
Well, he's from the Bahamas, but where did he grow up and where did he go to school?
Arizona don't want that stink. All right.
I'm telling you, man.
Arizona don't want it. Jazz plus 4.5. I am very interested in. I'm interested in Orlando and the under in OKC Orlando. Darryl on Jalen Williams over 1.5 threes. He also has that tied in the parlay, which we'll discuss here shortly. I'm interested in the Hornets as well. Darryl on the first quarter over 59.5. First quarter over 59.5 in Bulls Celtics. I have interest in the Nets. Again, I want to take a little more look at it. And with the Pelicans,
Wow, that's kind of ballsy, Jay. I'm telling you now, that's kind of ballsy. But I mean, listen, I respect you for that. But that's a ballsy move.
Well, one thing here, I don't think with the longer layoff that there's this bounce back for teams that lost in the semis of the Gold Cup or the NBA Cup or the team that lost, like the Thunder in the final. I don't see that. Much like we talked about on the show how, the teams that faced the Detroit Lions were getting destroyed. Well, yeah. Is that really the case if there's 10 days off in between a game? And the answer is no. The extra bit of time off takes a little bit away from it. Now, also the Lions are a shadow of their former selves with all the injuries.
Injury bugs. That's sad, man. That's sad.
It is. It's too bad. But look, if any,
and for what it's worth, I didn't even discuss this. Who was the guy that just got traded? Daniels? Who got traded from the Pels?
Who did just get traded from the Pels?
I'm trying to say Dyson.
Is Dyson Daniels?
Dyson Daniels.
Yeah.
Was it Dyson Daniels?
No. Yeah.
Dyson Daniels just got traded from. Okay, did you hear his quote?
No.
Okay, basically, the man was talking about how shitty of an organization that the Pels were. Not only that, but he talked about how the organization was shitty and essentially that team is cursed. No one can stay healthy. And on top of that, he was happy to be out of there. Secondly, remember what J.J. Redick said about when he was traded to the Pels and how basically he just shit on the organization. All I'm saying is that I don't really think at this given time right now the Pels are really like a bet-on squad. I just don't think so. And if you have trade rumors about Zion possibly getting up out of there and being traded, kind of ending that whole stint with Zion being, the golden child, the guy that's going to resurrect New Orleans, and now him possibly being traded, and no BI, DeJounte Murray breaking his hand first game of the season. I mean, man, I just don't. Pelicans to me, man, it's just kind of crarazy.
No, I feel that. It's all valid. I'm going to spend a little bit more time here. We have a Dan Kelly.
Nice, Dan. SG. I like that.
Derl is on the Rockets first half -5, -110. That's also an LJ from H-Town spot. Jabari Smith over 1.5 threes, -176. And then he's got Jabari Smith over 1.5 threes and Jalen Williams over 1.5 threes. That's at plus 143. 3. Darryl's on Desmond Bain over 16.5 points at -111. Spurs for me. Clippers, Mavericks, we stayed off. Ronnie Lofton's best bet of the night is Royce O'Neal over 7.5 points. I have interest in the Pacers. Darryl's on Cat over 13.5 rebounds, -105, and Knicks +3, -108. Going up against BJ, who's NBA best bets, Wolves money line. Stacks play today is Timberwolves under 214. I have interest in the Blazers. Darryl's on the Nuggets first quarter -2.5. And then the double parlay, Zubac, Cat, and AD. That's at +129. Darryl, it is so great having you back in business with us. If everybody could just take a second and go support our guy Darryl on X, be a follower of our guy Darryl.
Yes, absolutely.
It's so great to have you back in business with us, Darryl. You have been missed, my friend. Popping your
Yes.
handle in the chat. Please support our guy Darryl. Darryl, any last words for the Cappers supporting the show, my guy?
Yes, I appreciate Jimmy. Man, let's get to work, man. It's been long overdue. I'm really happy to be back, and I'm happy to be a part of this family. It's really, really good. If nothing else, just really talking about ball, win or lose or draw. It is great talking about ball. So happy to hear back from all the low bag family. Jimmy, I will be seeing you on Thursdays. You know I'll be gone for Christmas next week, obviously.
Yeah.
I will be gone. But yeah, happy to come back and talk to you on Thursdays. Peace and love to everybody. Jose, I still can't stand you and the Celtics. Love you.
There we go. Nice little closer. Let's bring on the aforementioned Snips Wose Bouquet. Where is Wose? Let's get him. Oh, there. Wow, look at this.
No, sorry.
That's a hat. Okay. I was wondering if he was wearing a hairnet. There it is, looking sharp as usual. Jose, we have a show that we're pushing back 15 minutes because I got to get my action in.
Mm-hmm.
So that show is not starting in 12 minutes, starting in 27 minutes. I've got bets to make. Jose, my friend, first off, how are you?
I'm doing well. We have things to get into, so let's do it.
Let's race. Let's fucking race right now. $50 on the line. Let's get racing here.
Yeah.
Jesus, look at this. Snowman racing.
Yeah.
How many gold members of Pub Sports Radio do we have?
82 gold members.
82. We're on our way.
82 snowmen battling it out here today.
Wow, this is very, very exciting. We are racing snowmen. Let's race, my friend. Let's race, Jose.
Let us race indeed. Here we go. We're off, and I didn't mute the music. Here we go. K Wolf hopping out to the lead. Oh, and there goes K Wolf. Nut Flush 16 out there right now.
Look at these junkies.
Look at these junkies.
Look at them.
What do you mean? They look like jolly old snowmen.
Oh, they look like a pack of junkies, man.
They're hopping to the meth right now. Gerald Jones trying to get his crack rock, and so is Kelly McInnes.
Kelly McInnes making a move. Is it too early, Jose?
Who knows, but let's find out, Jimmy.
Rod Zawacki moving to the front as well. Who is TJ also moving to the front? He's had a few wins under his belt. Gerald Jones right there. Here comes Justin McKelvey as well. Justin McKelvey making a move to the front. Ken Davies making a move. But MMA Mad Hatter wanting to come home with it. We're down. There's Jose Bouquet. Jose Bouquet trying to grind home. Jose Bouquet.
Hop, you bastard. Hop.
Is he going to find in the wall? Is it come on out? No. And Eberk gets paid. What a fall from grace. What the hell happened to you, Jose?
Well, just like all the other losers, I melted, apparently.
Good God, you fell apart there. Eberk wins. Johnny Guns in second. Matty Ice in third. Al Cervic in fourth. George Wood in fifth.
Where did I go?
Good God, Jose just fell apart.
Oh, my God. 43rd?
Jesus.
What a joke.
You were 3 seconds away from victory. Good God, that was horrific.
I wish I could control my snowman load.
Let's go over action because I got to get this. I got to get my bets in. I only have 2 bets I came into the show with. Stacks play today, number 1, Belmont Bruins +2.5. Stacks play number 2, under 214 in the Wolves game. NHL play today, number 1, Nashville Predators. NBA play number 2 from Ron Crawford, the Minnesota Timberwolves. LJ from H-Town, Lightning, puck line, Rockets, first half -4.5. Broncos, Chargers under 41.5. Skunt bag play today, Denver Broncos money line. Sam Houston +3.5. Utah Tech +130. In NHL, Bobano on the over 5.5 -130. Blues. God, this harkens back to Pubapalooza. I'm gonna have 24 minutes. At least I'm not destroyed, but I'm going to have 24 minutes to get my action.
That helps.
Bobano on the over 5.5, minus 130 in Blues, Tampa, and the Blues money line. Bobano on the Devils team total over 3.5. I'm interested in the Flyers first period. I might get there. Predators minus 1. I think I may get there. Kraken minus 134. Bobano. I already bet that minus 1 at plus 121. One of the bets I have in already. Senators minus 1. I might get there. Bobano on the Sens at minus 128. Boston, Edmonton, first period over 1.5 for Bobano. Full game over 6. Edmonton over 3.5. Team total at plus 100 and the draw plus 340. I'm on the Oilers minus 1 at minus 114. I think I get to the Knights minus 1, and I'm very interested in the under 6.5 in Colorado, San Jose. I really am. I think Mel's on the right track. Now, I know Bobano on the over in the Avs team total over 3.5, and you need to have conviction to go up against that man, but I just feel like with these two goalies being traded for each other, the teams are going to fight for them. By the way, Mel's on Draisaitl, first goal scorer at 10-1. The Mel long shot play today. BJ best bet Chargers money line in the NFL and Wolves money line in NBA. Sancho on the Chargers minus 2.5. I'm going to go over all the football play. I copied and pasted a ton of action from our Cappers in the chat. I'll go over that in our live stream. Bobano on the Chargers money line. I'm on the under 42. Troy on the Chargers minus 2.5. He also has a Ravens Chargers plus 3.5 parlay at minus 118. Then Bobano on the over 47.5 and Houston plus 4.5. I'm interested in Houston, but I'm a little late to the party. But Skunt on that alt line at plus 3.5 plus 105. Rodney Barton Jazz plus 8.5. I'd like to join him on that one. He's also on the Grizzlies money line. Morgan Spooner on the Grizzlies money line. Oh, Oakland. Southern Indiana minus 4.5. UC Irvine minus 2. Delaware State plus 5.5. So Oakland minus 120 for Bobano. I want to join him. I'm going to be on Charleston Southern in some degree. Bobano on over 146 in Charleston Southern, North Alabama. I think it'll be first half. DC Capper played today, Grambling State minus 5.5. We have not moved on that one. Pig Milk played today, Tennessee Tech money line at plus 120. Bobano on the over 153.5 in UC Irvine, Belmont, and Belmont plus 2.5. I'm interested in Lipscomb. Bobano on SIU plus 4.5 minus 120. I'm interested in Wyoming first half. And how I'm going to play that again is I'm going to bet Wyoming first half. If they don't cover it, I'm going to bet it live at halftime. Bobano on the Wyoming team total over 76.5. They're going up against Bellarmine. Bobano on Long Beach plus 6.5 minus 108 and Merrimack plus 21.5. He's going up against the Respect play today, which is St. Mary's minus 120, minus 20. I'm interested in St. Mary's first half here, but just interested at this point. Then we just went over all of NBA. That is our show for today. Go out there and get that cash. Join us here in 21 minutes for the Cappers contest. It's crunch time. Jose, I look forward to that hosting that show with you, my friend. Shout out to Robert Martin in the house. Wager Detective, Mally, Mal, Bo Jackson. Wow. Mally Mal saying Travis hit first score last night for Flyers at plus 1K. I love to see that. Kong's Clips, Kelly McInnes, Justin McKelvey, the Nuke Worker, Old E, Joey Marinaccio, the Dapper Capper, Saturated, thank you guys, Dan Kelly, Andrew G, Tori Coker, Action Jackson, True Allah, 4th and 1, Rick J, thank you all, Moneyball, Stacking Cream's snowman was flying there for a bit, Bill McDonald, thank you guys, truly, truly thank you, The Chosen One, thank you. Let's go out there and get that money. Shout out to my guests, Bobano and Derl. It's Derl back in business with us. Jose, great to be with you. I'll see you here very shortly. Can you please bless our action and send us into the future?
Yeah, we've got things to do. So join us here in about 25-ish minutes. And we'll be right back breaking down the football card. Till then, get your food up, get your money up, not your funny up, and leche. Hey, los bookmakers.
Harbour Acre Cottage is offering the Harmony Grand at Malega Lake, a private 2-bedroom modern log cottage lakeside along Malega Lake. Reserve your dates now on Airbnb.